Ask Pastor Chris Reinhardt of the Sandals Church here in San Bernardino to lead us in tonight's invocation, followed by Councilman Sanchez. Councilman Sanchez, if you would please, following Pastor Reinhardt, to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
Hey, thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, I thank you for the great city of San Bernardino, with its rich history and the lives that have been impacted and changed, and things that have been started and connected here. God, I pray that you would just allow this meeting to be productive, fruitful, and that good things would come for the city of San Bernardino today and beyond. I pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you very much. Pastor Chris Reinhardt of the Sandals Church. I want to encourage our community to support local. That includes not only local businesses, but local churches and the ministry efforts of our Pastor Chris Reinhardt. Pastor, you've been a great inspiration to me personally in my devotional life, and certainly appreciate the many times of prayer that we've had, and you've interceded for me personally, so thank you, sir. At this time, we will move on to our roll call. I'll recognize our city clerk, please, to call the roll.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Here.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Here.
Councilmember Charette. Councilmember Reynoso.
Here.
Councilmember Kelvin.
Present.
Councilmember Alexander.
Here.
And Mayor Valdivia.
Thank you very much, Ms. City Clerk. We have a quorum. At this time, our city manager is on vacation, a well-deserved one. I'll turn it over to our Assistant City Manager, Ms. Evelyn.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I will be presenting the City Manager's report this evening. All right, so as we continue to staff up, we wanted to introduce 4 new additions to the team. The first being 2 of our grants, the grants manager, Christian Rodriguez, and Gilbert Mosquedo, management analyst, also in the grants division. And in our planning division, in the Community Economic and Housing Development Department, David Murray, Deputy Director, City Planner, and also Cassandra Searcy, Deputy Director of Housing and Homelessness, and both David Murray and Cassandra Searcy are here this evening. All right. So last night we celebrated National Night Out, which promotes police and community partnerships. Improvements are coming to Guadalupe Field. Last week, a County Board of Supervisors approved spending of $995,000 for field improvements. The project will renovate the existing building and baseball field, upgrade lights, replace fencing, among other improvements. Under economic development, passenger flights at our airport begin tomorrow, August 4th, to San Francisco and Provo, Utah. These will be the first passenger flights ever at our airport. This week, we launched a search for a consultant to work with staff and community stakeholders to help us develop a comprehensive economic development action plan. Our water department has a low-income water bill assistance program, and interested customers can apply for assistance through the Community Action Partnership at the number listed on the PowerPoint presentation. Then under miscellaneous news and notes, as school is back in session, homework assistance returns at our libraries on August 15th, so just around the corner. And also our Animal Services Department would like to underscore the importance of keeping our pets safe during the heat waves. And if you have any concerns about pets in your neighborhood, please contact our Animal Services Department. Lastly, Little League Baseball Regionals are coming to town August 6th through the 12th, Western Regionals, and games are free to attend, so please join us. That concludes the city manager's update, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Ms. Evelyn. I want to commend staff for their great work in allowing the conversations and the collaboration partnership between Public Works. The San Bernardino International Airport has a great monumental feat tomorrow, and we're really excited about the opportunity to host Breeze Airways president. Also, I'll be hosting the mayor of Provo, Utah. She comes and joins us on a very important opportunity for our community. So I want to commend all of our staff, and thank you very much, our city staff, for plugging in, collaborating with our airport operations. My wife and 2 kids will be on the flight, on the inaugural flight tomorrow, as well as other elected officials, members of the community, and we're really excited about this opportunity for our inaugural flight. So I want to continue to encourage our members of the public to please buy your ticket. It's okay to buy your ticket, flybreeze.com. There is a membership, or there is an agreement. I won't go down deep into it, but the bottom line is we need to support our local airport. And so if you have an opportunity to celebrate a honeymoon or a weekend, getaway with your loved ones, please plan on doing that. So on that note, I will turn it over to Councilman Sanchez of the First Ward for your council announcements.
Yes, I want to thank everyone who showed up yesterday and participated in the National Night Out. I made it out to the Western District that was led by Lieutenant Flores, and then I made it over to the Inland Center Mall, where we had the chief, the assistant chief, and a bunch of police officers, and there was a beautiful interaction between the community that the police serve and then the police officers themselves. I was able to beat Officer Hines in a push-up challenge. He's a strappy young man, but I was able to show him that I got the strength of a bull. So I showed him up, and I'll be submitting my application to the police department later this week. Thanks.
Council members, Ibarra.
Thank you, everybody who showed up tonight, and everybody who showed up at the National Night Out events as well. I was able to go to the Inland Center Mall's event, where afterwards I did find out, just so you all know, that Officer Hines had done several push-up challenges prior to having it with him. So there you go. Second of all, on Saturday, there was a grand opening off of East Street, South East Street, the PACT. It is one of the nonprofit agencies of the Way Church that is doing most of the work, but it's kind of like a employment agency, but it's one of those that allows the employees who are seeking employment to choose their hours, if they want to work part-time, full-time, and they'll work with them throughout their career. They're not just going to place them in a location and that's it. They're going to continue working with them. They also offer benefits to those employees where other agencies don't. So if you would like to become a member, I think they said it's only $5 a month, but that gets returned in other benefits that you're getting from them as well. So it was a beautiful turnout. Councilmember Sanchez, Councilmember Figueroa were there with us, and beautiful turnout. We got to see Mr. Richard Montañez. He's a creator of the Flaming Hot Cheetos. So if anybody loves Flaming Hot Cheetos, he was here in our city. So I thanked him for coming out to put us on the forefront here. And then we also we're having the Neighborhood Association Council meeting this Saturday, and I want to confirm the location for you. I think it might be the Garcia Art Center, if it hasn't been moved. But also on Thursday, there's going to be an ice cream social up in the Wildwood Park Neighborhood Association. I'll leave that to Councilmember Charette if he has the information to share with you all. But thank you, everybody, for being a part of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Figueroa.
Thank you. I, too, had the pleasure of joining Councilmember Sanchez and Ibarra at the National Night Out, along with our officers and members of the public as well. And Councilman Sanchez, it sounds as though your title is in question here, so I think a rematch is on the horizon, so just be prepared for that one. So thank you again to everybody who did come out to the National Night Out. I did have the opportunity to attend the one at Nunez Park and the one at Inland Center Mall, where we had demonstrations about the drones and the future of law enforcement with technology as well. So that was a very neat experience to see that, and to see all of the public that came out and participate and get to take pictures and do some of the push-ups as well. So that was really fun. Thank you to our officers, thank you to the public, and everybody involved in putting that together. I also had the opportunity to participate with the Rancho West Neighborhood Association, their meeting. They'll be also, they're putting together a park cleanup. We don't have all the details just yet, but they're working on it. And as soon as they do have that information, I'll be providing that as well. And that is it.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Charette.
Thank you. And Sandra, I don't have Wildwood on my list, so I shouldn't be missing that, but I don't know why I don't have it on my list.
No, it's
And
tomorrow.
that's always a good turnout. I'm not aware of the date or the time. It's usually 6 or 7 o'clock up at 5050 North Arrowhead. What date was that for Wildwood?
It's tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow night.
Tomorrow's ice cream social, yes.
That's maybe why I don't have it, because I'm not going to be able to attend, but I still should be able to announce it. At any rate, so tomorrow evening, Wildwood Neighborhood Association will be meeting at their regular place and have an ice cream social as well. So I won't be able to be there, but it's always a good turnout, and I appreciate everybody's activity up in the North End. I do have on my list some other community meetings. Arrowhead Community Builders Meeting is on August 10th, Wednesday, August 10th. At 6:30 to 7:30, you can contact Janet McCaig at, well, I don't have a phone number. I've got her link, Janet McCaig, CEP@gmail.com. Also, North Park Neighborhood Association meeting at the Life Changing Ministries, 5395 North F Street. Guest speaker is our own Kristen Watson from Animal Control, and that is on August 11th, Thursday evening, from 6:30 to 7:30. And I think one other one, Belvedere Neighborhood Association meeting, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., August 16th. They meet at the First Christian Church, 2102 East Foothill Drive, and I think we're going to have some updates from, they say, from myself and from San Bernardino PD. So those neighborhood associated meetings are very important to the community, and hope that everybody finds the time to join one in their area. I think we have about 35. I don't know if they're all active, but they're very, very important, and you can contact our office, the council office, to get further information on the names, the contacts, and the information on those associations. That's all I have. Thank you.
And if I
Thank
may,
you.
Mayor, I found the information on Wildwood Park. So for tomorrow's ice cream social, it will be held at 5050 North Sierra Way. 7 p.m. is when they start their meeting, but join us at 6 p.m. at 5050 North Sierra Way for the ice cream social with Wildwood Park Neighborhood Association.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Reynoso.
Hey, everyone. Just some brief announcements. As was mentioned by the Assistant City Manager, Western Regionals are coming August 6th through the 12th. Last year was really difficult and people weren't actually able to attend besides the parents. This year it's back open. We attended that a lot in high school. It's for the kids, for the family. Just go out, treat it like a baseball game. These are the kids who are going to go for the Nationals. Some of these kids might even be in the Major League Baseball Association or in the major leagues one day. So it'd be cool to say that you saw them here in San Bernardino. The Blair Skate Sesh is happening on August 20th at 7 p.m. Put on by my good friend Joey Rosales, goes by Joey Dreads. Super cool event. Lots of super skilled skateboarders. I wish there was more young people in the crowd tonight. No offense to any of you, y'all look great. But the skateboarders out there go and do incredible tricks. There's gonna be a competition for all ages. Joey's gonna be giving out lots of skateboards. Even the smallest kid who just can barely pop the board a little bit will walk away with something. And just validating that this is a skill set like it's valid, you know? In high school, a lot of people wanted to become musical artists and stuff, but I know in the IE in particular, people wanted to become sponsored skateboarders, myself included. Didn't happen for me. hopefully these kids have the opportunity. But Joey's giving back to his community all the time, and this is a concentrated event, and it's going to be at Blair Park on August 20th at 7 p.m. And then two other things. One is I'm very proud to see, and I appreciate the feedback from my colleagues, and this is one of those times where we've come together for this, but the alcohol distribution ordinance is the best way I can put it. I had proposed maybe like a year ago or so now, because I grew up in a city like this. I grew up in LA too, some of my younger years, and where the most poverty existed, it was in direct correlation, I found, wasn't a secret. Liquor stores are right next to each other. There's a liquor store on this block, liquor store right down the street, another one right there, right there, right there. And so I wanted to figure out a way that realistically, with it already being as it is, how do we kind of like prevent more from coming and being in close proximity to schools, churches, sensitive like rehab facilities, because there was no ordinance or anything in our municipal code that prevented that. And so that's coming back for approval tonight. It's agenda item number 8. That excludes, supermarkets, bars that already exist, and other things that would typically sell alcohol, but we're trying to get it away from our schools, from our churches, from places that it just shouldn't be normal. We want people to see each other before they see a liquor store. And so I appreciate my colleagues' input on that. That'll be coming, I believe it's ready for approval, number 8 tonight. And then lastly, some of you might have noticed that we had a translator standing next to the podium last meeting. That was because the equipment's on back order. And so that came forward too. I proposed that in the summer when I first got elected. Had some feedback, so it's only Spanish. We'll work on getting Vietnamese and Mandarin and other languages and closed captioning. But the equipment will come, my understanding is within the next month, and that'll look like receiving recorders. If you only speak Spanish, you'll get a headset and you can sit in your seat comfortably while people speak from the podium and you understand everything because the translator will be live translating directly into your headset. And so I'm grateful for the city and the council for that. And that's all I have.
Councilmember Kelvin.
Good evening, San Bernardino. How is everybody doing tonight? Yes, it's always a pleasure to see you all here in this space. Always remember that we are always looking forward to hearing what you need us to hear. With that being said, I just always feel like I need to say thank you to the city staff that continue to help us to do our jobs every single day. Driving through the communities, each ward, I make a point every day to drive through another ward to see all of the work that is being done. It's been a long time coming that we have been able to see this type of street improvement, trees being cut, and potholes being fixed, and streets being repaved. This has been a long time coming, and I am very happy about it, because when community members are able to see improvements in our community, it gives every last one of us some hope. Now, there's some other things that are also going on in our communities that may not give us a lot of hope, but we still must each ask ourselves, what can we do? In my ward this past week, there was a little girl who was shot, drive-by, 8 years old, devastating. To see that there are folks in our city who do not value life, others, the life of others. And this is something that is a community problem. It is not just the city's problem. It is all of us as a city. It is all of our problem to see what is it that's missing in our communities to where folks still believe and feel that it is okay to take the life of someone else. It is not okay. And so we must continue to work together to find those solutions that say, what are the issues? What do we need to do as neighbors even? How do we take care and maintain our own street, the safety of our own streets? How do we support one another to make sure that we are doing our part? With that being said, the Little League, to celebrate, I like to celebrate youth in every aspect of life because they are our future. So San Bernardino City Unified School District just started. For those of you who have children and grandchildren, everybody knows that. It started on Monday. That's awesome because 2 years ago, we were all at home, right? So the transition is still new, but as a city, I want to be able to say, how are we supporting the school district as well? Last night at the school board meeting, President Wyatt discussed a bridge program. That program has been in the city of San Bernardino for quite some time, but has been kind of like pushed to the wayside. This is where both municipalities come together to discuss the youth of our city. And how are we going to do things that improve their lives, improve the city of which the surrounding city of which the school exists? Because that's the city's responsibility. What's their walk to school look like? It is our responsibility to make sure that we are all doing our part. And as community members, you all have a responsibility as well to let us know, to be our eyes and our ears in the community, to tell us what it is that you see. Because we have to start figuring out how we're going to take care and protect our youth so that they will be able to take care of our city and take care of us later on. So that's my soapbox, and a lot of you already know that, but it's important and it's vital. So with that being said, thank you all for continuing to come down. Welcome to all of our new staff. We appreciate you. A lot of you come with stellar reputations and resumes, and we are so grateful to have you because you are the ones that we have been waiting on to take us to the next step so that the city of San Bernardino can be able to shine again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Alexander, sir.
Thank you. And welcome to the new staff of San Bernardino. Welcome to Team San Bernardino. We appreciate you coming aboard. Wherever you may came from, we appreciate you coming. On another note, on the community note, we had the officer-involved shooting, as you all know. And as you all know, I promise that we're going to keep transparency, and it's not just a word. It's something that the city of San Bernardino does. Because I look at it from a point of view that I don't want anything to explode because we don't keep our word and do what we say. And most people don't know what goes on when a situation like this occurs. We're in the dark. And there's things that the department does that you don't know about. And you're asked the questions like, well, what are they doing? What's happening? And if you don't know, then you kind of get a little frustrated. And I don't want that frustration to boil over into the streets of San Bernardino. So I don't know if I'm in order or not, but if I can share, or maybe I don't know if the chief can share exactly what is happening with the investigation, just not what's happening as far as, but just what an investigation entails, like the forensics or.
Councilman, why don't we hear your request,
right?
But we're right now in council announcements. So if you'd like to proceed with council announcements, we can go ahead with that.
Okay, well, public, I guess we're going to try this again at another time. But there are things that are going on, so you don't hear the usual rigmarole of just an investigation is going on. So I'm going to try again, and maybe we can get this done again. And that's my promise to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Councilman. And thank you, council members. Wonderful reports from every council district. Very much. You? All right, perfect timing. And I want to commend staff. Thank you very much, and welcome aboard to all of our new staff members here at the city. We wish you a lot of success in your career here in our community, and we promise to act good and treat you well, and welcome you with open arms. And we thank you very much for believing in our city and coming and investing your career with us. At this time, we will move on to the public comment portion of tonight's meeting.
Mayor, we have a presentation.
Oh, that's okay. That's right. I'm sorry. Let's move on to the presentations. This is the resolution celebrating the 50th anniversary. Councilmember Kim Kelvin will join the recipient. This is a resolution celebrating the 50th anniversary of the 1972 Civic Athletic Club, CAC Little League Baseball All-Star Team. Joining at the podium will be Councilmember Kelvin and Councilmember Reynoso and Alexander.
On behalf of the City of San Bernardino, California, resolution of the Mayor and City Council recognizing and honoring 50-year anniversary of the 1972 Civic Athletic Club Little League Baseball All-Star Team, California Little League State Champions. 50 years ago, can you believe that? July 2022 marks the historical 50th anniversary of the 1972 Civic Athletic Club Little League Baseball All-Star Team, known as CAC. CAC made national headlines to win the first and only California Little League State Championship from San Bernardino. CAC is from San Bernardino's 6th Ward. Woo-hoo! CAC used to practice and play at former Muscot Park, once surrounded by orange groves across the street from San Bernardino Community Hospital, where the sound of breaking window of the convalescent home was considered a home run. And whereas this all-star team, which made of players from teams with names like the Gas Hogs, Cars, Missiles, Jets, and Rockets, took San Bernardino on an incredible journey and would go down in history for the West Side community. Unlike today's premier travel sports team, this group had grassroots sponsors: Scotty's Mobile Gas Station, Talmadge Hughes, Hughes Real Estate, Clyde Alexander, Alexander Construction, Diggs Liquor Store, Tilly's Mortuary, Alvin's Music Center, and Manny's Jukebox. The 1972 Civic Athletic Club All-Star Team was managed by Mr. Al Jury, a renowned record-setting National Football League referee and icon of San Bernardino, and coached by Leonard Sonny Davis, who is deceased. No one could have imagined this team would have united the city of San Bernardino the way they did. And whereas July 2022 marks the inaugural year of the Western Regional Little League headquarters in San Bernardino, where CAC's most memorable team was just 2 games away from earning a spot to play in the Little League World Series in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, CAC lost to Hawaii in the semifinals. And whereas the summer of 1972 was a flashpoint for the 6th Ward and the city of San Bernardino, the entire community, as well as the entire city, was very proud of this group of young men. The team makeup was comprised of the league president, Mr. Felton Anderson. Mr. Felton Anderson is also a husband of former 6th Ward Councilwoman Betty Dean Anderson, and the vice president, Mr. Bobby Caldwell, who is also deceased. The manager, Mr. Al Jury, and his coach, Mr. Leonard Davis, who has transitioned, and Juanita Louise Jury, treasurer and statistician. The team's all-stars included Michael Adams, Paul Anderson, Harry Teddy Brown, Bobby Caldwell, Leonard Davis, Gary Dawson, Gerald Jacks, John Jordan, Kevin McDowell, Kevin Mosley, Zachary Russ, Liddell Taylor, Byron Wilhite, and William Billy Wilson. Therefore, be it resolved that the City of San Bernardino, Mayor and City Council do hereby congratulate the 1972 Athletic Club Little League Baseball All-Star Team on their 50th anniversary. On this occasion, we honor and celebrate your unforgettable, amazing, fantastic, victorious title, and are forever grateful for your contributions to Little League Baseball. Give it up, everybody. Sunday. Yep. Oh, see, y'all always telling me everything late. Y'all always telling me everything late. There you go. Oh, wow. We'll get them for all of them. Oh, that is amazing. We're going to give it to Coach Jury tonight.
Okay, not a problem.
Oh, pin him, Ben. Pin him, Ben. Put on his jacket.
It's all sweet and looking, yeah, he's great.
There you go, Ben.
Yeah, he deserves that pin, believe me. Yeah, right on the lapel. That's beautiful.
Western Little League is in Councilman Reynoso is the councilman for the Western Little League area.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Come on, squeeze in, guys. Oh, there you go. Good space right there. See y'all later.
Well, 50 years ago, 1972, some of you probably weren't even born in back then. But I was a young CHP officer at the time, put in 28 years with the California Highway Patrol. And I also refereed in the old PAC-8 conference in college, the old schools, SC, UCLA. And then in 78, I went into the NFL the same year that it become the Pac-10. The two Arizona schools came in, made it the Pac-10. But anyway, I was fortunate enough to be able to coach these young men on the West Side. I was just a young man myself. And my wife and I dedicated our lives to CAC Little League for 15 years. And I have to say, I've been with her 61 years. So.
Stand up, please. Stand up, Miss Jury. Stand up, Miss Jury. We honored Miss Jury 2 weeks ago, but stand up, Miss Jury, please.
But anyway, back in the 70s, the first year of the Western Regionals, we sort of broke that place in because we were the first team from San Bernardino to play there. And that was the first year of the Western Regionals. And they weren't even, some of the dorms weren't even completed yet. And we had to win 12 straight games to get there. And it was a single elimination. We had to beat Northern California to represent the state of California. It was single elimination back then. Now the format is double elimination. And they went to one state champ after that year because California had to win so many games to get to the Western Regional, where teams like Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, Montana, Oregon only had to win 3 or 4 games to get there. So we were at a disadvantage in that part of it. But these young men, I would like to mention that we had a reunion last month where some of the players came in from out of state. One of my ball players lives in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He'll be here Sunday at the Western Regional. And another one of my ball players is Paul Anderson, Felton Anderson's son. He's a cardiologist back in Baltimore, Maryland. And another one is Gary Dawson, who lives in Dallas, Texas. He'll be out here. So these young men have succeeded in being good citizens and have made me proud that they learned a lot of the work ethic from being on that Little League team back in '72. So with that said, I'll sit down. I know you got a lot of business to take care of, so thank you very much for having us here, and we appreciate you.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for your commitment to our community, and thank you. It's great seeing you, and thank you for your leadership in the lives of children, the lives of our youngsters here in our community. Thank you. All right, at this time, we will move on to our public comment portion of tonight's meeting. I want to ask members of the public, please, we are using 2 podiums, and when I call your name, if you would, please stand in the bullpen area for us so we can expedite and get to hear you. And we want to make sure that we do hear you. As a point of order and point of clarity, Ms. City Clerk, do we have an 8 o'clock hearing that we are timed on?
Or not timed up.
No notice of 8 o'clock start time.
Their notice for 7 o'clock, but
Okay.
we can start.
All right, very good. All right, we'll proceed and straight through our public comment portion of tonight's. Again, use the 2 podiums, whatever one's closest to you, stand in the bullpen, and then also, as point of clarity here, use the middle button there, and we'll start. Barbara Whittington. Barbara, are you here? Come on down. Sonia Gray Hun. Miss Hun, are you here? Sonia? Moving on. David McCamick. Mr. McCamick. Maria Hernandez, are you here? Maria, you just stand up, please. And Frank Audi. Okay, Miss Whittington, go ahead. Recognized. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for letting me speak today. I am here to speak in favor of a community benefits agreement at the Carousel Mall. In sitting here today, I've been listening to you all talk about how great that you guys want to make San Bernardino. We also would like to see that here as well. I work in San Bernardino. I love coming to the city when I'm working here, and I would like you guys to really look at doing a community benefits agreement at Carousel Mall. Also, communication from the ad hoc committee. We need communication to figure out what's going on so that we know who you guys are working with so that we can get to the points that we need. This community can thrive with the community benefits agreement. We need to make sure San Bernardino County community members are first. They're the ones that get the jobs in this community first. They're the ones that their community is taken care of. They're the ones that make sure that we are getting the money that they deserve in this area. So again, I would like for you guys to get better at communicating with this, the City Council Ad Hoc Committee and to look as far as giving us a community benefits agreement with the Carousel Mall. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sonia Gray Hun. Ms. Hun, welcome. Followed by David McCamick and Maria Hernandez. Push the button, ma'am. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Sonia Gray Hun. I'm lead housing organizer with the Congregations Organized for Prophetic Engagement and also a coalition member with Something Better for San Bernardino. I'm here also to discuss the Community Benefit Agreement, the CBA, and asking for accountability from the ad hoc committee to be more transparent in moving forward. I know there's been a lot going on. We do, understand that there's many things happening in our city. But one thing, we made a commitment to communicate how we was moving forward with our CBA, our Community Benefit Agreement, and we would like to more transparency. So at this time, I'm asking, could we have shared the letter to everybody on the council? I don't know who had a chance to read it or not, but we're asking for a report out by August 17th at the next council member meeting, and also to agendize up and coming report outs moving forward. And I also want to speak to the public. Share this information with your family, your friends, your community, because as long as they see the same faces showing up, we're not going to move move things the way we want to have it move. We know that this is a great city. There's a lot of things that need to be done, but it's going to really take people showing up, showing out, and holding city council accountable, but also hold yourself accountable. Don't complain about what's not taking place when you're not showing up at these meetings also. So I thank you for your time, and you have a good evening.
Thank you. Maria Hernandez. Ms. Hernandez, are you here? Okay, we'll move on to Frank.
Thank you. My name is Dave McCamick. I'm a 39-year business owner in San Bernardino.
Mr. McCamick, hold on just a moment. Maria Hernandez, we're moving on. And we're going to ask the members of the public, please, to take your conversation outside to the lobby. We're trying to conduct public business meeting here, so thank you very much. Mr. McCamick, you're recognized, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you. I want to speak on item number 5, public hearing regarding Community Facilities District. Obviously, the city has placed additional tax burden on property owners to pay for maintenance and upkeep because the city has failed to properly to do its proper job in keeping our streets and sidewalks and alleys clean and safe. I have samples which each of you have got copies of. This is right on Highland Avenue. There's number 1, there's pictures of feces. Number 2 is graffiti on the sidewalk. Number 3 is rotten bags of food left on the sidewalk. Number 3 is Highland Avenue, and it shows the feces and all that. This is where it's located. And behind the alley, you see what we have here is we have all the neighborhoods, furniture and everything which is dumped in the alley. And if you'll also notice, it's right near where the shooting was at Golden Valley Medical. Now, in 1972, it was the All-American, or 1978, it was the All-American City. This is what it's become. Right near us, we've had 3 murders. I've had my flag. Actually, I've had my fence broken in. I've got a wrought iron fence that's been broken into. And the object of why they were breaking in was to take down my American flag. My American flag has been taken down twice. This is America, pal. This is not, you know, a foreign country. Code enforcement. I've been with Mr. Damien. I've taken him, Mr. Alexander. I've taken him down the alley. I've shown him the problems that we have. All he wants to do is photo ops. I'm tired of council people not doing their job. You need to look at your consistency and talk to your people, and you need to check your neighborhoods because kids go right by on Highland Avenue. We have 2 schools right there off of Highland Avenue, and they have to walk by this every day. This is San Bernardino. This is your San Bernardino. This is the San Bernardino you're responsible for.
Thank you, sir. Frank Audi. Mr. Audi, welcome. Followed by Tracy Moresco, Jim Penman, and Douglas Cameron. Sir?
Good evening, everybody. I'm sorry to be the odd voice here. I see a lot of festivities, but I have to. I've been coming to this meeting almost 15 times in the last 3 years, complaining about the same business, you know, a scam. Somebody drew a red line on the back of our garage, and they use it to impound our work truck 9 times, and then they take it to pick apart and dismantle it. Okay, I wrote to our honorable councilman. I talked to him even, and I sent emails to him, to the Public Works, to the city manager. And I sent 2 letters to the police and to the mayor. None of these letters were answered. Then I reached to Mr. Baca, Supervisor Baca, and he sent the same day, sent 2 officers, okay? And after that, they wrote the report, and then the report go to the city. The city sat on it for 6 months, and then I have to generate it again. Okay, now the problem is I've been warning the city that the gangsters or the scammers, they digressed in the city street and paint a red curve over there, and we get 4 tickets since 2018. The recent ticket is just about a couple of weeks ago, and I was really, don't understand what's the meaning of justice for all, or the meaning that the city is doing great, and we've been in the city 25 years, okay? So I wrote to the Attorney General, and he responded almost the same week. I reached to the Congressman Aguilar, okay, and to the City Assembly, to the State Assembly, and they all responded favorably, except for the city. So I don't know where to complain to. You know, my next step is to call the governor. Okay, hopefully he would be responded to me. So once again, I would like somebody to hear us or somebody to read our emails and then respond to it. Because what's the idea, you know, coming here 15 times, doing the same thing, complaining about the same thing, and nobody listen, nobody hear, nobody read. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Adi. Mr. Adi, we just had a conference with Mr. Figueroa. He suggests that he has called you and returned a phone call to you, and he's spoken with you several times. So
Yeah,
we'll continue to work through and ferret out those details so that we can have some good resolution. Thank you, sir. All right, moving on to Tracy Maresco, sir, welcome. Or Tracy Maresco, Jim Penman, Douglas Cameron, Joseph Hermosillo. Joseph, are you here? Joseph, we'll move on.
I have to hold the button.
Welcome. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Tracy Marisco, and I'm a teacher for Head Start, and I'm a resident of San Bernardino on Sierra Way. I think that for the Carousel Mall, you get something needs to be put together for the Carousel Mall that's going to benefit everybody. I used to go to the Carousel Mall when I was younger, and it's a shame that they need some kind of agreement, something put in place that's going to benefit everybody, make good jobs for everybody. They need to take care of it, because I haven't heard nothing except it's really bad around in my neighborhood. I live in that mobile home park on Sierra Way before you mill, and it's just ridiculous. You can't even walk down the street anymore. Everything is torn up. The Carousel Mall, I used to hang out at the Carousel Mall when I was in high school, and something needs to be put together for the Carousel Mall, something that's going to benefit everybody in the neighborhood. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Jim Penman, followed by Douglas Cameron and Jennifer Check. Jennifer, are you here? Jennifer Check. Thank you. If you stand in the bullpen for us. Mr. Penman, welcome, sir.
Thank you. It was great to see the CAC recognized today. I was a young 24-year-old director of the Home Enabling Service in 1972, and we were so proud of those young men. And I had the opportunity to speak with them for a few minutes there. And I was also pleased, Ms. Calvin, reading the resolution mentioning Felton Anderson. Felton was the president of the board of the Home Enabling Service at that time as well. And he was also the president of my own church, Lutheran Church of Our Savior, which is now Spirit of Our Savior Lutheran Church up on Sierra Way. We did a lot of work with young people in those days at the home, and a lot of them were into gangs and drugs and alcohol. And the Home Enabling Service was a mission of the Presbyterian Church. And as a lay missionary, I found it, and the staff found, that the best way to get young people out of the gangs, off of drugs, off of alcohol, all of which were dependencies, was to replace Jesus in their life for them to be dependent on him. And it worked time and time again. I carried that over into my years as city attorney. Some of my colleagues would ask me how we won so many of our cases, and I said the same way we did things at the Home Enabling Service. We prayed before every trial. And we asked God to give us a victory, and then we concluded that prayer with, if it is your will. And fortunately, most of the time, it was. And when we lost a case, we assumed it was not his will. I think we need that in San Bernardino today. Ms. Calvin was talking about the young 8-year-old who was shot. Mr. McCamick was talking about murders. We as public officials can do a lot of political things to make things better. We can hire more police. We can do something about the homeless. But we're not getting to the real root of the problem. We talk about it being unemployment. We talk about it being lack of education. Let's face it, the real root of the problem is evil. And there is evil in our city. We are not an evil city. The people here are not evil, but evil is here. And when you shoot someone, when you go out and lay in wait, or you do the terrible things that happen, that is evil. And in my experience, the only way to deal with evil is not through political solutions. We politicians can do things to address it. We can make things better. But if we're going to really succeed, we succeed when God works through us. That's the only way we're going to do it. And the only way to fight evil, in my opinion, and in my experience, is through faith in Jesus, because Jesus can handle evil. We cannot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Douglas Cameron. Douglas, are you here? Welcome, sir. Followed by Jennifer Check and Harry Hatch.
Yes, good evening. My name is Douglas Cameron. Thank you for the opportunity of speaking with you again tonight. When I tried to speak last council meeting, the 3-minute cutoff, I was just at a point of suggesting some changes that the council might consider moving forward to deal with the many problems that we're trying to deal with right now. School is back in session. The number of children on the streets has increased exponentially. The number of drug dealers and prostitutes that are doing business in the presence of these children walking to school in the morning, from school in the afternoon, is also present. There doesn't seem to be much in a way to discourage the prostitution, the drug dealing, the panhandling, the defecation on the streets in front of the restaurants. I start my day at 6 o'clock in the morning at a local business in San Bernardino on Highland. During the day, I end up spending time trying to do business with businesses between D Street and Arrowhead, and very difficult. It's life-threatening trying to get out of a car parked parallel to get out and do business down there. One of the suggestions might be to do some things like putting in red camera, stop and frisk, the surveillance cameras that would assist law enforcement to identify the perpetual speeders that use Highland and Baseline as speedways rather than public streets. Suggest changing the parallel parking to diagonal parking, reducing the number of lanes that people have to challenge moving cars in excess of the speed limit to try and be able to get out of their cars to do business on Highland Avenue. In addition to that, I've also suggested that there's a potential problem, because law enforcement cannot get cooperation from the prosecuting attorneys in San Bernardino District Attorney's Office. I'm based on personal experience over the last 2 months with a case in the San Bernardino court. There is an ongoing problem with the court in addition to the district attorney. The courthouse is a shambles. If somebody takes the time to go down there, you'll find doors are broken that need to be maintained that have not been. I'm very familiar. I've been in that courthouse prior to COVID, during COVID, and since COVID. It is a disgrace. You take case materials into the clerk to try and get documents filed for the judge to consider a case for adjudication. The files are lost. Return files are not returned. Even postage has been paid to send them back. The judges do not have access to an electronic monitoring system or a database system. The general public cannot get documents off of the public system to be able to document what's going on in the courthouse. The judge in the courtroom does not have access to the court papers that are filed, even from their own internal documentation. I suggest the city consider creating a municipal court here with attorneys to prosecute crimes in the city of San Bernardino.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Jennifer Cheek. That's right, Jennifer Cheek. And Harry Hatch and Mireya Dinez. Mireya, are you here tonight? Yes. Thank you. If you would join me in the bullpen there. Ms. Cheek, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I appreciate you getting the name right the third time.
I'm sorry, yes.
I know my handwriting's a little bit like a surgeon.
Sometimes I'm too
but
fast for myself.
I appreciate it. Thank you for the correction. I am here to speak on behalf of the Carousel Mall and the Community Benefits Agreement, and on behalf of San Bernardino County as well as city residents. I think it's very important that our community receives a community benefits agreement, as we need redevelopment in the area that is beneficial to not only the corporations that are coming into the area, but also to the residents of the community. And I would hopefully like to believe that our elected officials that sit before us here today actually care about the same things that our community members need, not just what the corporations need. So in my opinion, a community benefit agreement will work for both involved. It's not our elected officials against our community members. We shouldn't be on opposite sides. We should be working together. That brings up the ad hoc committee. Why was a third developer, ICO, allowed to go in without the community being brought into the loop on that? You know, it's hard for community members to do what's right for the community. We have coalitions, we have groups that have been brought together to encourage that the corporations and developers that are going into the community are doing the right things. But if our elected officials leave us out of the loop, then there's nothing, you're putting us one step behind the process. So first of all, I want to demand that you do what you're supposed to do as an ad hoc committee and notify your constituents of what's happening prior to it actually happening. And you know what? I think once we actually start working together as a team instead of enemies or opposing or people on opposing sides, then maybe at some point we can make some progress and do some good things for San Bernardino. I grew up in San Bernardino. My grandmother was from here. I remember riding horseback through the city, and it breaks my heart to see that we have so many non-complacent individuals who just don't care what happens to our city. I hope we can get that turned around and changed. Thank you.
Thank you. Harry Hatch. Ms. Cheek, if you would, can you see Cheryl Weeks? I want to talk to you offline. If you provide your phone number to Cheryl, I want to talk to you. I'll call you personally. Mr. Hatch, welcome.
Thank you. Harry Hatch, Ward 7. Mr. Mayor, Council, I wish to discuss some things with you today that I was not able to be here last time to discuss. And it has to do with fiduciary responsibilities. We are all fiduciaries for this city. If you sit here as a council person and have taken the oath of office, you are required to do certain things. I sit on a board for the retirement system in this county of San Bernardino. I was involved with our union. I had to resign my position on the union because I found it in conflict with what I had to do on the Board of Retirement. There are some things that you can do as a council person, and there are some things you can do as a public employee, but there are other things that you are required to do by the oath of office that you have taken. One of those things is not incite people to react negatively. We have a new chief. He needs the opportunity to show what he can do. He needs the ability that you can give him in the little time that he has requested to create an independent investigation so this can be handled in a manner consistent with the law. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Media, welcome. Christian Shaughnessy, sir, welcome. Gina Mideles. Gina, are you here tonight? Very good. Welcome.
Great. Dear San Bernardino City Council members, Mayor, City Manager, and staff, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Mireya Denise, and I'm with the Warehouse Worker Resource Center and Something Better for San Bernardino, also known as SB4SB. Something Better for San Bernardino is a coalition of organizations that hold common values as community members and working people around the opportunity and promise presented by the plans of Renaissance Downtowns USA and ICO Real Estate Group to redevelop the Carousel Mall property. Today, I, on behalf of SB4SB, sent a letter via email to all council members, including staff, outlining the importance of the ad hoc committee deliberating updates on the Carousel Mall negotiations, as well as the process at which this information is released to the public via the city council meetings. And since the creation of this ad hoc committee on city council meeting of May 16, 2021, which I believe was agenda item 29, the public, community, and community advocate organizations like SB4SB, among others, who are also here in this room, have seen little to no updates from the ad hoc committee on ongoing negotiations for the Carousel Mall property. The city of San Bernardino and developers have recently made changes to the redevelopment of the Carousel Mall site by proposing to add a third developer, Lincoln Property Co., a Dallas-based developer. The process in which the city undertook and delayed in sharing this information, which resulted in the addition of a potential third developer, which I believe today there will be a vote on extending the ENA until September of 2023, as well as the vetting of this third developer. It is concerning as a community member who also works here in the city of San Bernardino that this information was extremely delayed, as well as there is the second disposition of development agreement, DDA. Deadline is also approaching us in September of 2022. Right, if the ENA timeline is extended, then we have about an additional year for the DDA to be completed for the Carousel Mall property. But SB4SB has diligently and in good faith engaged the city and current developers, RDICO, in CBA negotiations to address issues of housing, labor, as well as the environment. And we look to you, council members, today as you vote on agenda item 3 and hope that you can continue working with community who's out here really advocating for a community benefits agreement, as well as SB4SB, whom we've been advocating for a CBA. So we really hope that you can, really advocate for community and push for this community benefits agreement. We also hope that RDICO
Your time is up.
would communicate this to the third developer. Thank you
Thank
for
you
your
very
time.
much. Christian, please, followed by Gina. Thank you.
All right, good evening, brothers and sisters, distinguished members of the council, and our mayor, who's gone at the current moment. I've come here today to speak on the question of legacy. What will be the legacy of each of our lives as human beings, given the momentous issues of the day? How do we wish our children and our grandchildren and our progeny to think of us by? What do we want the future to remember us for? And I think one of the most magnificent things that as elected officials or as members of the community we could be remembered for is being able to stand up for the great power of the people. All across this country, especially people in my age group, human beings are essentially giving up on politics. They're giving up on institutions. They don't want to vote. If you go and take a look at the voter turnout in this last primary, it was terrible even by American standards, and that's saying something. You have human beings who don't believe in, dare I say, even the idea of liberal democracy. You don't have faith in the future. But if we go ahead and have a community benefits agreement downtown, even if it's not the most perfect thing in the world you can possibly have, if you have this CBA, you will be able to say that you had a legacy, no matter what things you did in your past as an elected official, no matter what issues you may have had, you'll be able to say that you did the right thing and you empowered this community, you listened to this community, and you put the people's interests first instead of just a handful of very wealthy, very suited, it's ironic I'm saying that, right? But very wealthy, very suited individuals who don't even live inside the city, who come on down and just want to make money off of our backs and off of the pollution that goes into our lungs. So we need to have that CBA. And you 8 brothers and sisters, 7 right now, but you 8 brothers and sisters who are at that table, you can go ahead and get it done. You can go ahead and get it done. And I still have one more thing to speak about with regards to the issue of the legacy. And with what I'm about to say, I'm not speaking on behalf of the very articulate human beings from Teamsters 1932 or WWRC or those other people. I'm just speaking for myself, but I'm somebody that's lost a friend, the gun violence in the city. His name is Nitesh Kumar. He was one of the few people that was nice to me when I was over in high school, even when I, didn't deserve it, frankly. But he was somebody that I lost the gun violence. It's time that we stop that in this city, and we have to do so beyond mere words alone. But accordingly, gun violence does not just occur from ordinary human beings. Sometimes it happens from people who wear uniforms. And so accordingly, and I've heard great things about you, Chief, have an honest investigation, have an honest one. And that way, all of God's children in the city can feel comfortable and safe around not just civilians, but our members of law enforcement. So thank you. I hope we do the right thing.
Next, we have Gina Morales, followed by Martha Romero, followed by Devona Robertson. Gina.
Good evening. I'm here to discuss the Mountain View Park complex that's located at 149 West 6th Street. It's just 2 blocks away from here, so I'm really happy that the meeting is here tonight. Housing is a human right. I have the human right to go home and not smell meth and not see, and police chief, if you could please pay attention to me, and not see one tenant assault another tenant. The last time I was here, Mayor, it was because one of the tenants, a Latina that was 7 months pregnant, was assaulted by 3 individuals. So please pay attention to what's going on. Not only are we being assaulted and threatened, but the president of the Homeowners Association is embezzling from us. I'm the owner of one of 64 units. Each one of us pays $330 a month in HOA fees. That's over $21,000 a month. And please, we're at 149 West 6th Street, down the street. That complex is distressed. You have meth sales, you've got homeless loitering, and you have people like myself, an employee of San Bernardino City Unified and Stater Brothers that pays taxes not only through her property taxes, but through my employment tax, getting threatened and assaulted. San Bernardino Police Department isn't chasing away the gang members. I'm chasing away the gang members. And that's not my responsibility. It's his responsibility. It's his department's responsibility. When I went to complain about the embezzlement, his police officer told me that it was a political issue. It's not a political issue. It's a human right issue because we have the right to live in a peaceful environment. San Bernardino has a lot of problems, and it's an ugly, godless city. It's an ugly, godless city, and I know that that offends people all the time, but I thank God that I did not raise my children in these schools and that I did not live when I was raising my children in this community. Because there's a lot of thievery and there's a lot of white-collar crime. And I would like to be added to the next meeting. Unfortunately, I cannot come in August, but I've contacted the city attorney or the city manager, and I need to be added to the agenda so I can make a presentation and present to you all of the crimes that have gone on at the Mountain View Park and the embezzler, who's a man by the name of Mark Jolstead. So we're getting it. We're being assaulted by blacks and we're being embezzled by whites. So we're screwed, okay? And I'm a taxpayer and I live here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You're Gina Mireles, right?
Mireles.
Mireles. All right, thank you, Gina. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, Martha Romero. Ms. Romero, are you here? Devonna Robertson. Ms. Robertson, you're on deck. And Doreen Dominguez. I don't see her. Oh, there she is. Okay. All right. Welcome, Ms. Romero.
Good evening, Councilman and Mayor. Nice seeing some of your faces. More welcoming others than, some. I'm a community organizer with Teamsters Local 1932. As you guys know, I belong as well to the organization and coalition, Something Better for San Bernardino. We need a CBA. The community have actually spoke previously numerous times, numerous occasions on regards to the Carousel Mall. We were in negotiations, the city, our coalition, and the developers. As you guys know, we were not aware of the third developer coming and being added to our, to our negotiations. It would have been awesome if the AHA committee could actually made us aware of that. I'm pretty sure that there was something in between the lines why the community was not notified. With that being said, I think that it's of high importance that the community gets something out of this redevelopment. We see what is happening to San Bernardino. It's nothing new. We see that our streets are becoming, like some of the residents mentioned, drug infested. There is prostitution. Children are growing up looking at this as the norm. I actually grew up in San Bernardino. My children were born in San Bernardino, and I decided to move out of San Bernardino for that same issues. Back when I was growing up, it was Mount Vernon, the lovely street where all the prostitution and drugs was infested. Now it's my San Bernardino Avenue. So that needs to change. Something has to change. I'm actually gonna take my hat as a community organizer, and I'm actually gonna speak, in regards to Teamsters Local 1932. I'm taking that hat off. And Mayor Valdivia, the last time that we were here, I'm pretty sure you remember, we had a couple of words going back and forth. So I told you that I was gonna canvass for, the political campaign. So tonight, as a community member, as well as a community organizer that organized different constituents and different areas in San Bernardino, I would like to present this lovely trophy for your third place of your candidacy. So let's give a round of applause, people. The people's mayor.
Okay, Ms. Robertson, welcome.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Devonna Robertson, and I want to start by saying I am a proud resident of the city of San Bernardino, and although there is much work to be done, I would not have wanted to be born and raised any other place, and wouldn't have wanted to raise my children any other place. And I thank you for the opportunity to say a few words about the CBA. I am sure
I'm sorry,
many
Ms.
of—
Robertson.
Yes.
Let's start the time, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. I am sure many of our residents would agree that the Carousel Mall redevelopment is a big opportunity to revitalize our city. My question this evening is, what was the purpose of the ad hoc committee? Was it to give the illusion of transparency? Or is the desire to have our community authentically involved and informed in this entire process? Our community needs and deserves updates so that we can get closer to a community benefits agreement and the city's revitalization on time. I encourage you all to remember, or to be reminded, that your decisions have a ripple effect. And we need ripple effects that will have long-lasting positive impacts, not just for the folks that are paying taxes, not just for the folks who are considered upstanding citizens in the city of San Bernardino, but for all of the residents of San Bernardino. For those who might be looked at as the addicts, the prostitutes, they also deserve to be treated with respect, as well as any other resident in the city. We encourage you all to do what is right. And again, my question is, not that anybody will answer it tonight, what is the purpose of the ad hoc committee? Is it the illusion of transparency, or is it to be authentic in this process? Thank you for your time.
Ms. Dominguez, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. It's great to be here. I was born here, my name is Doreen Dominguez. I was born here in San Bernardino. I'm a property owner and a huge supporter of the Carousel Mall and the Community Benefit Agreement. I'm also part of the Aspen Institute. The Aspen Institute for Latino Society Initiative, in partnership with the New Localism, funded by the Irvine Company and Vanner. The Aspen Institute San Bernardino initiative was led by one of the policy programs, Latinos and Society, focused on empowering Latino majority communities to advance strategies that build community wealth, growth of minority businesses, and create job opportunities. San Bernardino is one of the 6 cities selected by Aspen Institute, including Chicago, Miami, San Antonio, El Paso, and Phoenix. For the Aspen City Lab, I funded initial involvement because 65.2% of San Bernardino is Latino, 13.7% is Black, and 8% Asian, and is one of the most nation's underinvested communities. It is a great community, but underinvested. This initiative that considers the growth population uplifts the practices by connecting cross-sector leaders in peer cities. It is an inclusive initiative, and I just wanted to make the statement that the Carousel Mall will help inject that much-needed investment. So thank you.
Thank you. Scott Furness. Scott, are you here tonight? Scott Furness, followed by LaWanda Rangel, Noemi Lopez.
Okay, perfect. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Scott Furness, Asset Manager for 7th Street Development. 7th Street Development is a privately held commercial real estate development and ownership company founded in 2003. We are proud business residents of the City of San Bernardino, having moved our offices here last year. I come here today to thank you and the San Bernardino Police Department. We are the owners and managers of the 12-building, 200,000 square foot Waterman Business Center in San Bernardino, just south of the 10 freeway on Waterman Avenue. We developed this property back in 2007 and office there currently. Waterman Business Center is 100% occupied and is home to over 30 different businesses surrounded by a business community in this area of approximately 500 people. We owe our full occupancy and much of our recent success to the San Bernardino Police Department and their community policing efforts. We commend the San Bernardino Police Department for their professionalism, concern, and aid in keeping our area a safe and vibrant community. Local law enforcement, led by Lieutenant Nick Oldendorf, Lieutenant Jennifer Carell, and Sergeant Anna Luna, have provided exceptional service and far exceeded our expectations in addressing concerns raised by us and the other occupants of Waterman Business Center. I also want to thank our former community policing officers, Tim Morris and Randy Bogue, and our current district resource officers, Chad Holgate and Tony Lopez, for hearing our concerns and taking definitive, proactive measures to keep our neighborhood clean and safe. Positive, proactive, and relational policing efforts, like we have experienced with the San Bernardino Police Department, make a difference. We thank you and SBPD for their valuable service. Thank you for your time.
Scott.
Mr. Furness.
Thank you for coming tonight. Tell your dad, Craig, I said hi. It's great to see you, and we thank you for your investment here in our community. We're glad to hear that operations are going well down on the south end of town, and we're excited about that Third Ward Business Plaza in our city. Very good work, and your occupancy rates are through the roof, and we're excited about that.
One quick question. Yeah, just a quick question. I know that you hold a yearly meeting. Is that still taking place this year? I'd like to. I've attended the last few years. I'd like to receive an invitation.
That's correct. Invitation should be going out shortly. Thanks, Councilmember Figueroa. Always good to see you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, LaWanda Rangel, Ms. Rangel, followed by Noemi Lopez. Christian Flores, are you here? Christian? All right, sir. Ms. Rangel?
Good evening, Mayor and councilmen and councilwomen that's sitting on the board. I would like to say hi to all of us San Bernardinos out here tonight. Well, I want to start off by saying I'm here to represent the next mayor of San Bernardino. Ecclesiastic 9:11. The race is not given to the swift or strong, but to those who endure to the end. Endure means to remain firm in commitment. When we're talking to a person, they would tell us 3 things about themselves: who they are, what they believe, what they will do. At one of the debate, Helen Tran said that she was doing all of this for us. Well, I kept on thinking, what is she doing for us? Because I'm just not having no understanding. But what I did realize that she was the director of human resource of the city of San Bernardino. And when the thing came out about sexual harassment, she left the city of San Bernardino and went to work in another city. Now she's back to run for the mayor of San Bernardino. I don't think so. We don't need her. If this is what she's doing for us, we do not need it here in San Bernardino. What does the Word of God say about making decisions? The Word of God provides profound wisdom for making choices in our lives. Remember advice of the Scriptures, to trust on the guidance of God when making decisions. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding. In all of your ways acknowledge him, and he would direct your paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. We need to make good decisions when it comes to San Bernardino. Crime is at a record high. Homeless is at a record high. Shooting, killing our children in the school. Crossing state lines to kill other race of people. Home invasions, snatch and grab robberies is at an all-time high. Absolutely, it is time to rebuild San Bernardino. It is time for us to make good decisions when it comes to us, for our future hopes, dreams, leaving a legacy for the next generation. For the people of San Bernardino, we need someone that will take action on day one, not just talk about it, be about it. This is why we need Jim Penman for the next mayor of San Bernardino. Thank you all.
Thank you. Naomi Lopez, followed by Christian Flores and Dolores Armstead.
Thank you. It's Noemi. First of all, I want to say thank you to my fellow community member. It's really refreshing to hear people talk about the humanity of all the City of San Bernardino members, regardless of where they are in their life, and where they have been and what they've gone through. They all matter. So thank you to her. I really appreciate that. The leaders in the city have consistently been letting down the city members with this whole process surrounding the downtown revitalization. And I'm here in support with all of those who have been working hard with the Something Better for San Bernardino Coalition, so we can guarantee, again, for all of our city members, affordable housing, good jobs, and environmental sustainability in a CBA agreement for the Carousel Mall. That Carousel Mall means so much to me personally. I have said this before in this city council room, that my family came here from Mexico and the first jobs that they had were in that Carousel Mall. And as soon as one was able to get a job, we were able to bring my whole family here. Literally, my parents, everyone started there at that Carousel Mall. And now it is what it is. And this is a huge opportunity to bring some meaning back into that location, and it should be benefiting specifically your constituents, not the highest bidders. But why have there been no updates from the ad hoc committee? Councilwoman Calvin, I love you, so I'm not gonna go there. Sanchez and Charette, though, if this was beneficial before the campaigns that you were running, we'd like to see some follow-up and actually go on with what you said you were going to do. What happened to these monthly reports regarding these meetings about the CBA? Okay, how can we support you if you need the help? And to actually commit to these meetings, because these last minute cancellations of these meetings are starting to get annoying. The rescheduling, the cancellations, all these, it's difficult to even find out where these meetings are happening, and then only to find out as soon as I'm getting ready to hit the door, nope, they're canceled. So there has been no updates. The community's been left in the dark about this third developer. There's a problem because this is a problem because our community is now one step behind in figuring out what is happening here. This is not the transparency you promised. We need updates. This is not the revitalization for gentrifiers and outside business interests. It's for all of us and for all of these folks and all of those who aren't here right now who have worked hard for this city day in and day out. And as a personal community member, I would also like to follow up with Councilman Alexander's request about the investigation of the murder of Robert Adams. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. Ms. Lopez, I want to encourage you. Thank you for your comments. Unfortunately, the ad hoc committees aren't published. This mayor has been very vocal in my advocacy for that the agendas and the meeting location be advertised. And we'll work with staff to make sure that it is advertised. I believe that it should be. It's not being done, and that's a sad shame on our city. So we will work to make sure that the agenda, the meeting location, and all of the details are published. That's been my request since the inception, and staff has not done so. So we'll try to.
Ms. Lopez, Ms. Lopez, if I may, I'm sorry, sir. You just took your opportunity. I'm going to take mine.
Ms. Calvin, I'm not done.
Miss Lopez, first of all, I've never heard this mayor state anything about the ad hoc committee's agenda being published. Never have I heard that. So I'm not going to allow him to say that tonight. Ms. Lopez, what you will have, Ms. Lopez, is an answer to the questions that you all are asking, and that information will be brought to you forward by the city manager and the ad hoc committee.
This is, Ms. Calvin, this is a great cover-up for the mess that you create.
No, it's not a cover-up. It is you, again, trying to incite something to your own favor. You've already lost.
We're going to move on. Christian Flores. Welcome, sir.
Wait, is this on? Okay. Hi, Mayor and Common Council. My name is Christian Flores. I'm a community organizer with Inland Congregations United for Change and Something Better for San Bernardino Coalition. I've been here before to speak on various occasions about the importance and the impact that a community benefits agreement can have for the city of San Bernardino and the whole downtown area. But more specifically, I'm just here alongside our coalition partners to really just remind you all of that we're just here to hold you all accountable for the standards for reporting back that you guys set in regards to the ad hoc committee. That's really the gist of it, is making sure that we have transparency moving forward, because as we've stated before as well, the Carousel Mall property is part of the Surplus Land Act, which means community members should have been involved in essentially every step of the process from the beginning all the way through. The only reason we are able to be in the loop to the extent that we are is because we're involved as part of the coalition within the negotiations. But that doesn't mean that we have the permission to be able to make everything public. That is something that we are leaning on you guys in regards to basically good faith negotiations and a partnership to ensure that we get the best out of this project for everyone within the city of San Bernardino. So that's really all that I can say.
Great, thank you, sir. Ms. Armstead, welcome.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My first comment is, what the heck happened at the last city council meeting? What the heck was going on? I'm very much for small business. I have one. It's legal, got a business license, got insurance, got certificates, got permits, everything I'm supposed to have. For 2 hours more than 2 hours at the last meeting, we heard people protesting because they want to operate their illegal businesses, not licensed, not permitted, not insured, etc. That's not a view that we want for the city. We have vendors taking over our city sidewalks with the food carts and the retail establishments. That's not what the city is about. We are for legal businesses. We want legal businesses. That means you got your license, you got your permits, you got your certifications, etc. That is what we want. We heard for 2 hours people protesting because the city won't allow them to have their illegal businesses. That's the difference. People get what the rest of us have to have: our licenses, our insurances, our certifications. We have some of these vendors are taking over our sidewalks. They have full restaurants. Go down Highland Avenue, go down 6th Street. They're full restaurants. There's no toilet facilities. There's no water facilities. It's just there. That's not fair to city residents, it's not fair to property owners. I commend our code enforcement for doing what they can, but they're limited. But we as a city, we can do better than that. We encourage businesses, but we encourage legal businesses. They need to pay for the same things I have to pay for and be legal. So please, council, work on it. Most of those people don't even live in the San Bernardino. And another thing, do they go to Highland to protest? Doubt it. Hollywood, Rancho, Ontario, I guarantee a lot of those people are not protesting at their city councils. Why just San Bernardino? San Bernardino needs to be better. We can be better. Also, after 2 hours of listening to people protesting about their illegal businesses, we had 3 speakers that wanted to speak on something else. Mr. Penman got to speak, another young lady got to speak, and the last lady wanted to give her 3 minutes. Valdivia stopped public comment. Now, how the heck did that happen? And nobody defended that young lady. Maybe we were all dazed behind 2 hours of listening to protests, but how does that happen where somebody's public comment is not listened to? What kind of city is this?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your comments. City Clerk, do we have any Zoom or any special accommodations to be read?
We do not have any Zoom comments. I have one ADA accommodation. It is for Mr. Hardy Brown. It says, thank you, Mayor and Council, for your service to our community, and congratulations to those voters returned to the council. At last night's school board meeting, the first 4 or 5 speakers were parents speaking about their fear and safety for their children. The Black mother spoke about what she perceived to be a target on her children's back by everyone in our society. The white and Latino parents spoke about the fear they have of their children getting to and from school with gun violence in the neighborhoods. It is a serious and heavy burden for parents to carry, and we must act as a community. My main reason for speaking tonight is in keeping with public safety after the recent shooting and killing of Rob Adams by 2 police officers. The NAACP has requested of me, as chair of the Legal Redress Committee, to open an investigation of the shooting and draw our own conclusion as to what happened. It is in the spirit of justice and unity for our community that I will proceed in gathering all of the facts that I can while evaluating the material through the current and historical lens of the racial biases of the police department and community. To guide me during my investigation will be Senate Bill 1421, where I find these words written. The public has a right to know all about our serious police misconduct, as well as about officer-involved shootings and other serious uses of force. It is in keeping with the intent and spirit of SB 1421 and my responsibility as chair of the NAACP branch 1062 Legal Redress Committee that I put into the city a Public Records Act request seeking the specific police record of the incident, other written reports, names of the officers, the body camera recordings, any documentation in their personal records related to the use of force when engaged with the public by these 2 officers. SB 1421 goes on to read, concealing crucial public safety matters such as officer violations of civilians' rights or inquiries into deadly use of force incidents undercuts the public's faith in the legitimacy of law enforcement. This was one of the points a Hispanic male veteran told the school board last night. He did not trust or believe them to tell him the truth. We have to restore, or better yet, we have to establish trust with you as elected officials and our law enforcement agencies. If we don't, it will make it harder for our officers and the tens of thousands of other hardworking peace officers to do their jobs. I want to thank Mr. Rob Field, City Manager, for his recent hiring of Darren Goodman as Chief of Police, for this has softened the blow of anger and outrage from the shooting and the killing of Rob Adams. But that alone has not reduced the tension and fear of police in the community. The fact that the family has retained the legal service of attorney Mr. Ben Crump has also helped reduce some of the tension because of his reputation of fighting for justice. The NAACP is fighting for justice and unity on behalf of the Black community and all of its citizens who are disrespected and abused by some, not all. Police officers in the department. They took an oath to protect and serve all citizens regardless of our race, gender, age, national origin, disability, income status, and it is the NAACP's mission to try and hold them to that oath. Recently, there was an article in The Sun that read, "Racial Bias, a Problem for San Bernardino Police." The information in the article was taken from a report done by the Attorney General for the state of California based on your police department's records. I knew that racial bias existed from the brief investigation I did on a complaint filed by Quinn Bass, a black man, who was beaten by a police officer during a stop for speeding that Quinn was never cited for. Let me close by saying I am willing to meet with Mr. Field and Chief Goodman to share my thoughts and ideas on public safety in the city. Thank you for your time and service, Hardy Brown, 6th Ward resident.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on to tonight's discussion calendar. These are items 2 through 4. First one is the cancellation of September 7th City Council meeting. The recommendation is there before you, and we'll entertain a motion. Ms. City Manager, do you have any comments on that?
So the item before you is a proposal to amend the mayor and city council meeting schedule to cancel the September 7th meeting to allow city officials the opportunity to fully participate at the Cal Cities Conference this year, September 7th through the 9th.
Okay, very good. Is there a motion for approval?
No, I'm sorry, I'm
like
trying
to
to get, can we move it to a different day? Like, a different day?
I'll second that.
Be a special meeting.
What do you propose?
Instead of canceling it, can we just move it to a different day?
On the 6th?
Right.
The day after Labor Day?
Right.
Sure.
Mayor, if I may, I did put a request to speak on this item.
Well, then, I'm open for suggestions to just, because I don't believe we need to cancel, but we just need to.
Well, the staff recommendation is to cancel it, but you're the policymaker.
Right. How about Tuesday, September 6th?
Can you do that one?
Yeah, it starts on that.
The conference starts on the 7th, September 7th, Wednesday through Friday.
That's fine. September 6th sounds good for me too.
Can everyone? All right, how do I?
I'll second Damon Alexander's motion for September 6th as a replacement.
Mayor
day.
and council, if I may. The conference is in Long Beach. Our meetings run a little bit long. Perhaps a consideration could be the Monday, the 5th, to give you.
That's Labor Day.
I'd like
How
to
about
speak. I don't know how to program this damn
The
thing.
13th? Council?
Help. No, I have a recommendation. Look, we've canceled meetings in the past, and staff is able to accommodate. They front load and they back load a lot of the work. Last year, we had our colleague Kimberly Calvin with Councilmember Reynoso and Councilmember Alexander show up and represent the city well at the California League conference up in Sacramento. And we can all participate in this. Can you tell us right now that there's something that is so urgent that it needs to happen that we need to reschedule for some time in that week? Is there anything that's so time sensitive that we have to have a meeting that week? I work, most of my colleagues work. We sacrifice a lot to make it to these meetings on Wednesdays. Again, is there a time sensitive issue that needs to be addressed the week of September 7th that can't be addressed either before or 2 weeks later?
We would adjust accordingly. So we have a meeting coming up August 17th.
Yeah, exactly. And we've canceled meetings in the past, right? We canceled was it the first meeting in July? And I don't think anything
July
happened.
6th,
So
yes.
I would make a motion that we just cancel the September 7th meeting and show support to our voting delegates who are going to be going back out and voting at this conference in Long Beach.
That's a motion by Sanchez.
I'll second.
Second
Long
by
Beach is an
Reynoso.
hour away.
I'm sorry. Ms. Barra, you have a question or comment?
I do. I have my speaker request to speak, Mayor, and you haven't given me an opportunity. My concern with us canceling this meeting
we always have something going on in the city. We're gonna delay whatever was gonna be scheduled for that day. The reason we had July, first week of July canceled was because we voted on it back in December. It was enough advance notice. On this one, it's not enough advance notice, and being how the agenda was packed when we came back after the 4th of July, I would not like us to see that again. It's when we have long meetings the way we did on July 20th, it takes a burden on our staff, takes a burden on us, council members, and our community. So I once again would like to second the motion for Damon with Councilmember Alexander to have it on Tuesday, September 6th.
All right, the chair will
I'll second. Is that a substitute motion?
No, Councilmember Alexander.
on the 6th? Cancellation. All right, so the chair, hold on, folks. We have a motion by Sanchez with a second by Reynoso on the staff recommendation to cancel September 7th. Is there any alternate or substitute motion from members?
Alternate substitute
Go
motion.
ahead, Ms. Ibarra.
To reschedule it for September 6th,
Is there a support for that?
the day before September 6th.
Is there support for that?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, all right, members, cast your votes on that, September 6th. Cast your votes.
Councilmember Alexander, if you could second the motion.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it to pop up. It's not showing up on my screen. Well, it's not showing up on mine.
Oh, there we go. You're not in the right place.
Members, cast your votes, please.
Did Councilman Alexander attend training?
I like the old system.
Who are we waiting on, City Clerk?
It looks like it failed.
Give me 1 second.
Well, we have to announce it. Okay, the motion has failed. The motion then stands on the recommendation to cancel September 7th. There's a motion by Sanchez, Reynoso on a second. Members, cast your votes on the floor motion for cancellation September 7th.
Just give me 1 second.
Can we do a voice vote? Let's do a voice vote. Madam City Clerk, let's call the roll.
Can you just give me a second while I bring this up? Thank you. Councilmember Reynoso. The motion passes.
Ms. City Clerk, are you able just to announce that print is very small? We do have a requirement to announce how the votes have turned out.
Okay, so the motion passes 43 with Council Members Ibarra, Mayor Pro Tem, and Councilmember Alexander voting in opposition.
And can we have our staff, just as our consultant, if we could somehow broadcast that on a separate page so that our viewing audience, those members in our auditorium can see the vote. Thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to item number 3. This is a third amendment, an exclusive negotiating agreement, Carousel Mall. The recommendation is there before you, and we'll open it up to a staff report. Ms. City Manager.
So as you know, at the last meeting, you considered the proposed third amendment to the exclusive negotiating agreement for the Carousel Mall. You moved to continue the item to today to ensure that Lincoln is here, and they're here. Our agency director, Nathan Freeman, will be leading the discussion, and Lincoln is also available to answer any questions.
Apologies, I'm just waiting for my presentation to queue up. All right, apologies, a little technical difficulty. So the proposed third amendment to the exclusive negotiating agreement between the city and the San Bernardino Development Company, better known as RDICO, should you approve, would accomplish three things. First, it would add LPC West, better known as Lincoln Property Company, as a party to the original ENA and as the sole and exclusive developer of the Carousel Mall project. As the council may recall, the original ENA specifically acknowledges that RDICO has the right to bring on other developers to complete the project. Second, it would extend the term of the ENA until September 12th of 2023. As the council knows, the Second Amendment to the ENA currently expires in September of this year. And lastly, the schedule of performance will be revised to reflect the new term of the ENA. The schedule of performance in the original ENA, notwithstanding any extensions, anticipated a fully negotiated disposition and development agreement, or DDA, be presented to the City Council on or before April 9th of 2023. If you factor in the two City Council approved 90-day extensions, the timetable for a fully negotiated DDA is pushed back to October 6th of 2023. The new streamlined schedule of performance, again, notwithstanding any allowable extensions, anticipates a fully negotiated DDA to you, the City Council, by August of 2023. Now, during my 20-plus years in this industry, and in many conversations with colleagues and friends in cities such as Anaheim and Tustin, I've personally come to know Lincoln as an outstanding developer with a nationwide, not just Southern California, reputation for financing, constructing, and delivering projects similar in size and scope to the proposed Carousel Mall redevelopment project. I think it's also worth noting that during my almost 16 years with the City of Riverside, I made many attempts, sadly, unsuccessfully, to bring them to Riverside. So I feel very fortunate that they are here tonight. Moreover, as was noted in my staff report, Lincoln's cumulative development efforts have produced well over 130 million square feet of commercial. Definitely an impressive feat for sure. So at this point, I would like to invite Stephen Lindgren with Lincoln to make a very short presentation on Lincoln and provide the council and the community an overview of some of their notable Southern California projects.
Thank you, Nathan. Nice to be here with you all tonight. My name is Stephen Lindgren. I'm here representing Lincoln Property Company. I've worked at Lincoln for 10 years and currently serve as Senior Vice President of Acquisitions and Development for the LA region, which I co-lead. Before I get into the presentation, I wanted to say a few thank yous. Thank you to City Council, the mayor, city staff, and the community at large. We're very excited to be here and hopefully become a part of this, what we think is a transformative project for this community. Also, thank you to RDICO, Don and Gian. A lot of hard work and effort has gone into this and making this a reality for Lincoln to potentially come in here and be considered as a development partner. We could not have gotten here without their help. So on to the presentation. So, so first slide. So Lincoln Property Company, Nathan talked about it. Lincoln's a 55-year-old real estate development company, privately owned by a family. We're headquartered in Dallas, Texas. We have 400 offices across the United States. We've developed over 100 million square feet and are consistently ranked nationally in the top 10 of real estate developers every year. Our SoCal team over the past 10 years has built some of the most transformative development projects in the region, some of which will be highlighted later on. We've developed over 11 million square feet, 5,000 apartment units, and aggregate development value of $10 billion. The local team that will be leading this project has been working together for 10 years, and we feel very confident in our ability to execute on this development. Next slide. One more, please. Thank you. Here's a list of some of our projects. It's tough. It might be tough to see on the screen, but this includes commercial office, life science, residential, and retail. We're a very well diversified and experienced developer, and hopefully that list outlines that. Next slide, please. This is the first project that we wanted to present to you guys. It's called Runway at Playa Vista. It was completed in 2016. 280,000 square feet of outdoor lifestyle retail with 420 apartment units. This project was transformational for Playa Vista submarket and quickly became the retail heart for this community, something we hope to achieve here at the Carousel Mall. On the retail side, we were able to bring Whole Foods Market and Cinemark Theaters as anchors for the retail center, and the apartment units were very well received by the community and quickly stabilized within a few months of delivery. Next slide. The second project we wanted to highlight is 10 West in Pasadena. This reminds me a lot of the Carousel Mall. We took the old Parsons campus, which was kind of an antiquated office development, and we re-entitled it for a large mixed-use project. It was 1 million square feet in total. It was the largest entitlement project ever completed in Pasadena. We just delivered the first phase, which was 400 apartment units and 200,000 square feet of commercial office and retail. Similar to Runway, the apartment units leased up within a few months of delivery. We also signed a long-term lease with a predominant private equity firm at the commercial portion of the project. Both hopefully are great examples of the caliber of projects that Lincoln is able to deliver on, and hopefully can help you guys see the vision and strategy we hope to deliver here at the Carousel Mall. In closing, I just want to, on behalf of Lincoln, we're very excited about this project. We think it's very transformational. We know how important this is to the community. We want to do it thoughtfully and right from the start. We want to be transparent with all of the different parties and are committed to making this the best-in-class project for this community and hopefully all of Southern California. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Lastly, and in conclusion, staff recommends that the mayor and city council approve the proposed third amendment to the exclusive negotiation agreement between the city and San Bernardino Development Company, LLC, and LPC West Incorporated for the development of the Carousel Mall. And secondly, authorize the city manager or his designee to take any further actions and execute any further documents as necessary to effectuate the agreements. With that, myself, Mr. Lindgren and a representative of RDICO are available to answer any questions the council may have.
Thank you very much. Mr. Lindgren, welcome to our city. We welcome Lincoln Properties. It was a delight to speak with you earlier this morning regarding the property. We spoke about 45 minutes regarding some of my, as a mayor, concerns for the overall project. Can you express to the public, and would you please clearly elucidate to the public the relationship between the contract and the obligations of the city as you're the lead agent on this project, and walk us through that. What does that mean to the public, and what does that mean to our taxpayer?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the Third Amendment, a lot of thought and care went into how we were going to structure this deal with RDICO. We respect RDICO and all the effort that went into this project so far. We want to be able to continue to work with them going forward and be able to tap into their historical knowledge and relationships. But on the other hand, we want to maintain control of the development and be able to make decisions quickly and efficiently internally, which has brought us a lot of success in the past. So we think how we've structured this deal with maintaining full control, but also keeping RDICO as a co-development manager will be best suited for this project.
Very well. As I understand it, and as you put, I think the opportunity for Lincoln Properties to be the lead and the other two to sit in the back seat, enjoy the ride, but at the same time be flexible and nimble to make a cohesive decision to push the project forward. I think that's my understanding in the phone call with you this morning, is to make sure that you're the lead project and you're making it happen with consultation with our city staff and our city council members.
Yes.
So I appreciate that, and thank you. I also want to extend my appreciation to RDIC and Don Monty and Gian Torkin for their collaboration, their partnership, sir. Thank you very much, Gian. You've been a valuable partner here in our community for many, many years, and we want to thank you and salute your efforts. I'm sorry I couldn't take a call this evening, but I do appreciate your outreach to us. We appreciate your presence here in our community. We appreciate your longstanding efforts. We'll open it up to council members for final comments or questions. The motion there is before you. We'll start with Councilmember Calvin, followed by Ben Reynoso and Damon. Councilman Alexander.
Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate it, and I do appreciate you taking the time to speak with me as well today to answer the many questions. And matter of fact, I shared an email from a constituent, and we went over point by point with some of the items that they were inquiring about. But I really want to direct my question to you. Will be following the comments that you heard and the things that we shared earlier in the conversation. I was trying to make you very aware of what the community's perspective is and how they're feeling and how it is critical that their concerns are addressed. So let's just deal with the CBA, I'm sorry. And I want to make sure that Julian Gross, who RDICO in the city of San Bernardino had already contracted with, correct, to formalize a CBO, that he will still be working for the city of San Bernardino in conjunction with yourself, with Lincoln Group and RDICO, in making sure that the CBA does come to pass.
Yeah, we are, we're committed to community benefits for this development. We know it's a major component of any development. It's something we've done in the past. This ENA will hopefully allow us to have a seat at the table and be part of those discussions and agreements going forward. But yes, we will have community benefits that we will be contractually obligated for this project. We haven't been a part of any of those meetings, so it's hard for me to agree to anything specifically tonight. Hopefully you can understand that. We're ready to be part of those conversations and discussions, going forward. We're just looking for a seat at the table.
And we also discussed the importance of having some sort of a task manager in front of us and making sure that what we do say, as far as being able to report out to the community, that does remain intact. So you agreed that, yes, you would be making sure, Lincoln Group would be making sure that there would be a regularly scheduled report out to the community.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll work with city council and city staff on how best to do that.
Thank you so much.
Very good. Thank you. Councilmember Reynoso.
Thank you for the presentation. I appreciate you being here. I don't know if you noticed last time, it was just that no one knew who you were, where you came from.
I didn't get COVID twice, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad you recovered.
Thank you.
But yeah, there was a lot of skepticism in the community. And so she asked the question that I was just going to ask you. So I'll ask you two other ones. In your previous developments, how much of it is like electric versus gas?
Maybe I don't understand. You're saying for the specific buildings or for?
Yes. What's the reliance on gas versus the future of energy?
If you're asking, are you asking specifically about ESG initiatives within our firm?
Any developments that you've had, how much of it has been in the past, let's say 10 years, electrified, or are you just totally gas?
No, electric is a component of our developments. I wouldn't know off the top of my head, but yeah, maybe if
what kind of components? Electric components.
Maybe I'm not understanding your question. Is it for like how the buildings are serviced?
How the buildings function, how they're powered.
Yeah, I think it depends for what the use is specifically. I know for retail, for instance, you need to have gas in order to cook food. But yeah, electric is important for multifamily units and for office space. So it's a combination of both. If I had to guess, maybe it's 50-50 based on the types of projects we've done.
And you are, I want to double down on that, you are fully committed to signing, let's just, not the specifics necessarily, but at the end of this, you foresee you absolutely signing a community benefits agreement to some form of capacity?
Yeah, we're committed to agreeing to contractual obligations for community benefit. I can't speak to specifics today because we need to get in the mix, but yes.
I appreciate that. And so my last question to you is, I appreciate the type of housing and the examples you provided. What's the housing scale from the percentage? Do you build any affordable housing units? And I don't want the community to think I'm just trying to just know market rate. I understand how it has to go. I just want to know what the scale looks like.
Yeah, it's something that we're studying right now. We actually we've contracted someone to work on a report now. There will be some affordable component to this project. I can't commit to you tonight what it will be, but there will be some affordable component to it.
Thank you.
Councilman Alexander.
Thank you, Stephen. How are you doing?
I'm feeling great. Thank you.
Oh, good. I'm
Appreciate
glad
you
you
asking.
recovered. And thank you, Nathan, for your report. I appreciate that. And like I said last time, I'm more concerned about the schedule of performance and make sure that you guys perform on time. I don't know your history of scheduling on keeping track. The city has waited a long time to get this far, and I don't want us to, the city or you, to fall off the schedule of performance. So are there any guarantees that, or what do we need to do on the city side of the house to make sure that you follow your schedule of performance? Is there anything that we need to do on that side?
I think it's really strong communication and alliance among our development team and your city council and city staff, which I know based on how these past couple weeks have been interacting with you guys has gone really well. So we're enthused by that.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we don't need to do anything, that the city is doing what it needs to do and you're doing what you need to do as far as keeping that schedule, because you said in 2012, September 12, 2023, this will be done, this ENA, correct? We shouldn't need any more extensions, right?
You mean the DDA? Yes.
Yes, the ENA, DDA.
That's what
it's all rolled back into one. They're telling us it's all rolling into one. So I'm just trying to understand what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, on our side, I know that we can perform under that schedule. Some of the items that are on that performance are outside of our hands, including PlaceWorks, which the city is contracted with to do the EIR and the downtown specific plan. The DDA can't become effectuated until that has been completed. So that could be potential for something that could delay it. But the things that we can control, we are committed to that timeline.
Great. Yeah, have we finished the appraisal, the city?
We have. It's under review right now.
When do you expect it to be done?
Well, we had a communication with the appraiser this morning. I expect that by the end of the week, it'll be finalized.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Stephen.
Thank you.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Yes, so I'll question to whoever wants to answer. My understanding is that RDICO combined together and they created an LLC company called the San Bernardino Development Company, LLC. Mr. Freeman, could we have done this differently to avoid any further extensions to the point that maybe LPC could have become a member under the San Bernardino Development Company instead of us doing an amendment to add them as, according to your report, is saying as the sole and exclusive developer? That kind of concerns me, because we did go through a whole RFQ with the Carousel Mall, and we're not doing it for this developer. I was looking for financials on this company. I didn't find them on their website. And the concern I have here is on the second page of your report, saying that the ENA term is extended to September 12th. My understanding is that the current ENA is supposed to expire this September, not next year. Is that correct? They've already had extensions. They have 2 extensions already.
Yes, so as the original ENA allowed, we've already extended the agreement twice. Sorry. We've already extended the agreement twice, as allowed by the original ENA.
Yes.
The current iteration, the second amendment, expires this September. What we are saying under this third amendment is that we are extending the The third amendment allows us to extend our negotiations until September of 2023.
The negotiations under the ENA or DDA?
The ENA. So the ENA allows us to negotiate the disposition and development agreement that we'll be bringing back to you, again, if all goes according to plan, within 1 year.
And that is my concern, the further extension, because it's delaying the project further. That's how I'm seeing it right now.
Well, as I noted in my report, the current iteration has an expiration or a cause for us to come back with that disposition and development agreement in October of 2023. So we're actually shortening the timeline for us to bring back a fully negotiated disposition and development agreement to you.
Correct, for the DDA, it was October 2023?
Yes, so under the original ENA, it was envisioned that ENA, or excuse me, the DDA would be back to you in April. So when you factor in the 2 extensions, the council has already approved, that pushes it out to October of 2023. So again, we are shortening the timeline by doing this.
Okay, and then for LPC representative here, so you heard the community, and this is something we voiced heavily during the review process of RDICO and the third company we didn't select. Community benefits agreement is very highly asked for in our community. Of the employees that you get for your construction project, how many of those do you know will be from our city, or do you hire on your own from outside?
Yeah, it depends from project to project, depending on what kind of project and what kind of community that we can pull for those types of jobs. Again, it'd be something that we would discuss with you guys when we have a seat at the table during community benefit discussions. But we understand jobs are important and job training is important.
Correct, because I feel that our community, as somebody mentioned, one of the public speakers, we've been underrepresented quite a bit and undervalued, I think. We have a lot of talented people in our city that should get an opportunity at getting good jobs, especially when it's building something in our city. Also, not only that, but also allow them an opportunity to be able to afford your units for rental. You're focusing on rental, on apartments, correct? That's your bread and butter?
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
for this project specifically, correct.
And then estimate, what's the average medium income that you're looking for when it comes to your properties like in Irvine, LA, and then San Bernardino, when you look at those different?
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, it depends project to project. Like I spoke about before, we're doing a report right now to further study that, and we should hopefully have that, in the next couple weeks.
Okay, yeah, because I would like to see all spectrum of people.
Yes.
Being able to afford them.
We're in the business of building apartments that are going to get leased within the community, so we understand that.
Okay, and I do like the work that you're doing. It's just, we didn't get a full-on presentation like we got with Don and Gian here.
Yes.
So that's why a lot of the community, they're concerned, because they're coming in as, another developer, but we don't know what they're gonna offer to the community. So that's where a lot of the concern is coming from. And we thank you for coming today. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for me.
For members of the public and our council members, I want to thank staff for providing this roadmap. This is Exhibit C in your backup. It is the included in your backup material. This is a schedule of performance. As you can see, it's outlined with 3 pages of milestone achievements. So I want to thank staff for their very good work in providing that. And unfortunately, I don't really see dates. I don't see dates, but I do see 13 milestones. Is there any issue with the dates? Because maybe it's in an appendix or something that I can't see now, but I see the 2-page document, the scheduled performance is Exhibit C, but there's nothing really attached to it.
So as you can look at city due diligence information, the description within 30 days of the effective date of the ENA, that's my information I provide with you, assumed an effective date of this evening, should you approve the third
Okay,
amendment.
that's the operative word and term that we should incorporate into the schedule.
Correct.
Is the effective date being today.
The effective date being today, if it is approved.
And utilizing that as the calendar here for the milestones. Thank you very much. All right, Councilman Figueroa, sir.
Thank you. Just one question. Does the Lincoln Property Company have any LEED accredited professionals, or any of your projects in the past been LEED certified?
We do, yes, we do. ESG is a major component of our company philosophy, so yes.
Okay, very good. Is there a motion for?
Move to approve.
Second. To speak.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know. if
Councilman
it showed
Charette,
up.
go ahead, sir.
Always save the best for last. Stephen, thank you for your presentation. And Gian and Don and the entire group, thank you all for the hard work that you've done. We've talked about how long this has taken and how important it is to the city. Well, there's this thing called a downturn that we all suffered through back in 2007-8. The large depression, not depression, I guess recession, huge recession, not to mention bankruptcy and other things that this city's gone through over a number of years. So I think we're moving very rapidly at this point in time. And I want to make it clear, and I think you said it, Stephen, but I wanted to clarify that the hard work that's been done and the legwork that's been done up to this point, done by RDICO, had to be done probably before somebody like you would have come on board anyway. And clarify for the public's interest that though you'll be taking a lead as they remain partners in this process and will continue to be partners in this process and this development. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And then I concur with my colleague, who I also sit on the ad hoc committee, and I do think that we've maybe, I'm not sure how much, some of the stuff we maybe weren't able to report, some of it was maybe a little sensitive in terms of what was allowable to be public during some of the conversations that we had. I want to assure the public that we're not hiding the football at all. This is a huge project for the city. It's something that is a long time coming, and I see it now that I've been here over 13 years, and I see it moving very rapidly, and it's going to happen. But as a member of the ad hoc committee, I agree that we need to do a better job maybe of presenting. Even, I find that even if we make a presentation that says, we just don't have anything to report, at least they know that we're working and know that we're paying attention, and it's important to be transparent. So I think I agree with my colleague, and we will, through staff and through the committee, the staff, and the developers, we will do a better job of communicating as we move forward on this thing. So I'm very supportive of you coming on board, looking forward to working with you, and I thank you for the presentation. And again, thanks to all the players in this and staff as well for the hard work that they're doing. And we can get some of this stuff out of the way, and we can start working, start turning dirt, maybe.
We're excited about it. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you. Very good. I'll entertain a motion. I think Councilmember Calvin, you motioned for approval. A second by Charette. Members, cast your votes, please.
You too.
The motion passes unanimously.
Very good.
Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome, sir. All right, let's move on to item number 4. This is to adopt a master equity lease agreement for light-duty vehicles. We'll entertain a staff report. City Manager?
Barbara Whitehorn, our agency Director of Administrative Services, will be presenting the Master Equity Lease Agreement programs similar already existing with the City of Redlands, Rialto, and Fontana. Barbara.
Mayor, members of council, good evening. Marcus is pulling this up for me. It's the last attachment, Marcus. There it is, PowerPoint presentation number 4. Perfect. Okay, thank you. So this is to discuss an alternative fleet management model. And I know the staff report was fairly long, and I'm sure that you all at least read the highlights. I tried to keep it fairly high level, but with some key details as to the benefits to the city of a fleet management model that is leasing. And in my presentation overview will be what our current model is, what best practices are for fleet management, what a leasing model looks like, because leasing, when we're talking about a municipal lease, is very different than what you sort of imagine when you like lease a car from a dealer. Very, very different. It's more like an equity financing model. It's called leasing, but it really looks nothing like when you lease a car from a dealer. If it looked like that, I wouldn't be bringing this to you because that would not be a benefit to the city. And then cost analysis, and then we have some time for discussion. So currently, and for quite some time, the city has had an aging fleet, significantly aging fleet. All of you know this if you see our vehicles on the road. High maintenance costs, as you can imagine. Very low value when we sell our vehicles at auction. Our management systems are not great. We lack the evaluation of potential efficiencies and really optimizing when we sell vehicles at auction to ensure that we're not spending more than the value of the vehicle on maintenance, that we're recouping the most equity that we can. There's a lot of really key things that should go into fleet management to ensure that you're not spending too much on maintenance, that you're using warranties as much as you can. There's just a lot that should go into it to, really ensure that you're managing your fleet in the best possible way. So in a best practice, you would track your fleet, every vehicle, the age, sort of the potential resale value included in that, which is not entirely based on age. It can also be based on what is the market interested in right now. If we're driving Ford Explorers in our police fleet and suddenly Ford Explorers are super popular in the market, it might behoove us as a city to sell those at auction sooner than we normally would because we can put more equity into our program. That might not be something that we as a city would have the expertise to be aware of. Cost of maintenance is something critical that we should track in order to ensure that we're not just pouring good money after bad into vehicles that we're replacing major components on. We don't want to rebuild transmissions. We don't want to make major maintenance on cars that we should be replacing. Fuel efficiency. It's absurd for us to be driving vehicles that are really old. Of course, safety, all those things. We should be replacing, if you look at this graph up here, basically when fuel efficiency is getting worse, our maintenance costs are increasing, and the depreciation or the value of the vehicle is decreasing. And, so that's best practice. Non-emergency vehicles, usually you replace in 5 to 7 years. When maintenance costs are exceeding 50% of the purchase value. And in our city right now, 43% of our non-emergency vehicles are older than 7 years, 38% are older than 10 years, and 10 of our vehicles predate 1998. Yeah, that's just not awesome. Leasing model. So municipal leasing, and the first thing I wanted to explain is what municipal leasing is not. Doesn't work like an auto dealer lease. There's no maximum mileage, no early termination penalties, no wear and tear fees. And it does not lock the city into any kind of long-term contract. What it does is work like a financing plan. It provides flexibility. It enables us to turn over our fleet faster, and it will enable the city to move towards electrification of our fleet and to really make more strategic decisions about the kind of vehicles we want in our fleet as they become available. So when we're seeing technology improve and we're like, hey, we're now able to use electric vehicles for this particular purpose, we can pivot and purchase those much more easily than we can when we're purchasing vehicles with our own capital funds, because we have to make those decisions much more carefully because there's a major capital investment when we purchase vehicles, especially when we're making a change in the type of vehicle that we're purchasing. And moving to a leasing model also provides economies of scale that we just don't have. So then there's some benefits to the city. We replace significantly more vehicles with less capital. The way that that works is that currently we have to pay, obviously, the full price of the vehicle, right? In a leasing model, we're not paying the full price because we're leasing them. So we're paying a portion of the price, and we're only paying sales tax on the lease amount. So we're not only are we not paying a full price on the vehicle, we're paying sales tax on the lease cost. So we're kind of getting a discount and a discount on that. We have the same rights of ownership of the vehicles that we do when we buy them in this model. We can modify the vehicles. We can put the light bars on them, all the stuff that we need to do with police vehicles, whatever. Having newer vehicles, which we could have with this plan, significantly improves safety for all of our employees that have to drive city vehicles. This kind of flexibility, as I stated earlier, allows an easier transition to alternative power vehicles and fleet electrification, optimal timing for replacement. It provides us the highest equity when we sell our vehicles back, and it actually allows us much better staff maintenance efficiency. Right now, our maintenance crews are doing major maintenance on vehicles or farming out maintenance all over, and we're paying a tremendous amount of money for maintenance. And that's something that we shouldn't be doing. Our maintenance staff should be doing oil changes and tire changes and really basic maintenance, and then taking vehicles that are under warranty to dealers for warranty work, and then working on our heavy equipment that wouldn't be in a lease thing. And that enables us to take staff that has this expertise and use them in the area where they have this expertise, and not always have them chasing after these major issues all the time, but actually be, doing what we hired them to do, rather than always chasing these really old cars that have really old car issues, as any of us that have driven really old cars know. Trying to think what else. So we did a cost analysis because, when you have vendors like Enterprise or any vendor, there's always we can save you money. And I believe that when they say we looked at your fleet and we can save you money versus what you're doing right now. And while I think that's legitimate, I think that it's a little bit of an apples to oranges, because what we're doing right now is trying to maintain an old fleet without much analysis, and we would be shifting to a model where we're maintaining a new fleet and we have equity, so of course we would save money, right? So what finance staff did to really evaluate it is we said, okay, if we were to shift to the same vehicles that we would do with this enterprise model and fund that entirely on our own, but the very same vehicles over 5 years, what would that look like? Like, not our current model, but basically the same X number of vehicles in year 1, same models, makes, all that, X number of vehicles in year 2 over a 5-year period, so that we could compare literally apples to apples. And then we made some assumptions that I think are realistic. Like, we don't recoup as much at auction, even if we're selling the same vehicle at the same time, because Enterprise has this scale nationwide where they can say, they're selling a Chevy Silverado, and Chevy Silverados are selling really well in Milwaukee. Well, we can't sell a Chevy Silverado in Milwaukee. We're selling it in San Bernardino, regardless of where it's selling, for the most money. whereas enterprise may know exactly where to sell it and where they can recoup the most capital. So we made some assumptions about that, and then how much money we would spend on various things. And in the apples to apples comparison that we tried to do, which of course isn't going to be exact, but we did as much as we could, we found that we still felt that there would be a significant savings over time moving to a lease model, that with a purchase model, if we did basically exactly the same thing over 5 years as we would do with enterprise, we would spend $25 million, and with a lease model, we would spend $15 million. I know, only 10 million.
Move to
right?
approve.
You know, just nothing, you know?
Yeah, can we, yeah, please.
Second.
Got a couple questions.
You absolutely can,
Definitely.
but, you know, please. So we did do, you know, quite a bit of analysis.
Hold on. Let's let her finish the presentation. We'll just.
So, and the last thing I wanted to address was that, you know, obviously the scale I've talked about a little bit, I don't need to go into that. And then we do have some order windows that have been coming up, which is why it's significant that this come forward tonight, because 2023 model inventory is very low, and we are seeing windows for ordering that are opening one day and closing the next day. And for us, that's extremely difficult. For enterprise, it's difficult, but I think for us, it's even worse because we don't have that pipeline to know when these things are coming up and be able to get those orders in, know exactly what we need. And so it's a little more challenging for us. But in conclusion, I and staff that has looked at this recommend that we move to this leasing model because of the flexibility, the safety it provides, and the sustainability, both financially and long-term environmentally.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I do have a couple questions. What impacts to the fleet department, if any? How many have we assessed any of that, their jobs, and the impacts to the fleet department, the mechanics, the techs that are currently city employees?
We do not think it would impact, like, we wouldn't lay off any employees. What it would do is enable them to actually work on the heavy equipment and do the oil changes and the tire changes and not spend so much time working on all of the crazy, like, stuff that they have to do now on the old vehicles. Yeah, so they would do the day-to-day maintenance that we didn't recommend purchasing Enterprise's maintenance plan because the vehicles would be under warranty. So the oil changes, the tire changes, those things would be in-house.
The responsibility of the vehicle, does it come issued by Enterprise with the city logo and an exempt plate, or is that the obligation of the city to now brandish and put the logo on and have our contractor put the logo and what?
They'll do all that. Like, we partner with them to say, okay, this is who we want to use, and then they go make it happen before delivery.
With the logo and appropriate supplies. The cost associated with it, you have a 9-page packet report. You allude to that this is a, my question is it budgeted? Was it budgeted? Did you budget this in the spring workshop? Did you even bounce this off council back then? And how did that happen?
We didn't bounce this off council, but we were considering it when we were budgeting, and we knew that the cost of this was going to cost likely less than we were budgeting already for fleet maintenance and new vehicles. So we knew that all we would need to do with council's approval would be to transfer funds from general fund vehicle purchases in various departments to the fleet fund, which is already general fund supported, so it's just a budget transfer from one fund to another.
So in packet page 8, you're right. The fiscal impact is it is a general fund. So this is out of pocket $1.2 million is your request tonight from council.
Yeah,
approval.
we're moving it from one pocket to the other. It's not actually a financial impact to the city because the fleet fund is general fund supported. So we're not actually having a
Meaning
net
that the fleet
impact.
fund is an internal services fund.
Yes.
And from that fund, they'll withdraw and draw down department by department the respective vehicles that they utilize on the 1.2.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Final question is, in my recollection, we have been talking about vehicle replacements, and I think this is a great novel way. I believe in it. I think this is great, so good work. But before we just all get happy here on new cars, the allocation for reserves, my understanding is that there is a vehicle replacement reserve amount. There's no, you didn't allude to it, you didn't mention it in our staff report. What happens to that fixed amount? Because we have a fixed amount on vehicle replacement fund. Does that then free up reserve money for that, or how are we going to treat that vehicle replacement fund in reserves? There's three subsets, well, there's two subsets of reserves, but help us understand that.
We would roll that equity into the program to make sure that that it's sustainable. And if we have reserves that we don't believe we're going to need going forward, then we would roll that into our regular general fund reserves for council to make a decision on spending of that. But we can report to you with I would say the mid-year on whether we believe we need that in the program or whether that can be rolled into
That would be my
regular reserves.
recommendation, is that mid-year, because we, with the two-year budget cycle, you had suggested and sold to the council that this would be on a quarterly basis. You'd report to the council your findings, any carryover allocations, or fund requests. So either at the quarterly report or the semi-annual report, if we could somehow modify that or adjust that so that it's reflective of the new policy action if the council decides tonight. That'd be my request. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I just recommend mid-year as opposed to first quarter because we'll have more data at mid-year with the revenue for this fiscal year.
Okay, council members, I think we're winning here. We got Fred, I'm Councilman Charette, Councilman Calvin, Councilmember Calvin, Councilmember Figueroa, sir.
Well, first of all, I want to move the item. It sounds to me like an absolute no-brainer, and I want to just, I don't have any more comments other than thank you for the education. It sounds like a real no-brainer, and it's a really thorough, as you always do, to make it very easy for somebody like me to understand. And I appreciate that very much. So those are my only comments. I think this is, again, with all kidding aside, over a period of 5 years, a $10 million savings, that's a no-brainer. So I will move approval as soon as I'm able.
Councilmember Calvin.
Thank you, Ms. Whitehorn. You always put on a very educational presentation like Councilman Charette just mentioned, so I learn a lot each time that you present to us. So when we begin the process, and did you mention when exactly, if moved tonight?
I think as soon as we get the contract signed, we would probably get started because those windows are opening and closing to order vehicles.
And so how many vehicles would you be looking to move originally or at one time? What are we looking at? How long would the process take to have changed out all of our vehicles? What are we looking at?
I think the 5-year plan that we created, we are hoping that within that 5-year plan, we will have everything that's not a current model vehicle, like one that, you know, doesn't have current safety features and all that, replaced. So that was what the original sort of 5-year thing was to do.
Okay, thank you very much. You were going to ask your question about the type. Are you up there?
And Ms.
Wanted to
Calvin,
make sure.
the packet page that you're alluding to, there's a semi-schedule. Packet page 6, there's a chart there that alludes to the numbers of vehicles replaced per year over the 5 years. So very good. Councilmember Figueroa, sir.
Thank you. Very informative. Thank you. Job well done. With lease vehicles, of course, there's always the mileage restriction. If I remember correctly, under the lease agreement, there isn't. I mean, there isn't. Okay, so we can just rack up the miles. Okay.
We can. There's no mileage restriction. There's no wear and tear. That was, and That's what makes it so, by calling it leasing always makes it sound like, oh, it's one of those, you know, like we're going to have all those things that when you lease from a dealer, and it's so not like that at all that I almost want to say to Enterprise, please don't call it that.
Okay.
You know, can we name it something else? Because it sounds like when you lease a vehicle from a dealer and you turn it in, you're like, I owe how much?
Okay, because I'm just reading under the lease agreement, item number 3, subsection C, it does refer to 15,000 per year, 45,000 miles per 36 months. So I was just wondering if, so that's, we disregard that then.
No, we don't have any mileage restrictions.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Whitehorn, I failed to ask one last question. Surplus vehicles, what do we do with them currently?
We auction them, but usually by the time we auction them, they are so old and not worth much that we get very little. And our owned vehicles, when Enterprise comes on, they will auction them for us. So even though they're old, they will get more for them just because they're better at auctioning them than we are. And they have a much bigger, they have a much broader base of customers. So we'll even get more for our not fantastic pool of old vehicles.
I want to make a kind of out-of-the-box recommendation. The surplus, working in tandem with our community, perhaps a community member wants to buy it. It's not free, but we can surplus it through our community members. I mean, we've often said community benefits agreement, shop local, buy local. Is there an opportunity maybe that staff can create a carve-out for a surplus day for our community to auction off here within our city? Many residents may find interest in that, but they don't want the bureaucracies of some third-party layer. I have email alerts on bidauctions.com and several other ways, but the opportunity is that community members might be able to purchase those vehicles, and that would be my request.
We'll have to check on that. I don't know about the legalities of something like that, but we're happy to check on it.
Very good. Councilman Alexander?
Thank you, and thank you for your report. Is it now agency director? Yeah, okay, agency director. My question is, of course, green vehicles, alternative fuel vehicles. It says here in your report, and I did read your report, it says that you will make an attempt to replace scheduled vehicles whenever possible. How do and I know government does with everything is smoke. We take the least path of resistance. So how do we become the model? How do we become the model in anything, no matter it's parks and recs or community? How do we become the model of electric vehicles or alternative fuel vehicles in this situation? Because it doesn't mandate you do this. It just says whenever possible. So that's my first question.
I think most important is that we have to make sure we have the infrastructure to report it, to be able to do it, because we have to have the ability to plug them in and charge them here. And then once we have that in place, we have to make it a priority, because if we say to Enterprise, we want to electrify our non-heavy equipment fleet, then they will say, okay, here's what's available, and what would you like? And they can do that. They can absolutely provide us with electric vehicles in whatever area we need. I think the key is, do they have the technology for the vehicles that we need for like police cars? Not yet. Do they have them for, you know, whatever kind of vehicles we need? I think the key is determining when will we be able to have the infrastructure on site for us to charge vehicles, and then when will the vehicles be available for us to electrify the various portions of our fleet that we want to electrify?
So it's a matter of this council having that political will to do such.
I don't know that it's council. I think in some cases it's SoCal Edison upgrading their infrastructure to the point that we can put in those stations and know that they are actually supported by the infrastructure and can function.
And if I told you they're up to that, SCE is up to that.
If they're up to that, I think
are.
we can be up to that.
Okay, then they are up to that because they're doing that all around the area, the region right now. The SCE is just doing just that. So for your, we'll talk offline.
Yeah,
but
if they upgrade here,
they-
I think we absolutely are up for that when the technology is appropriate for the vehicles, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Members cast your votes, please.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on to our public hearing portion of tonight's calendar. This is item number 5, the public hearing on annexation number 5 to Community Facilities District 2018-1. I do have a script here, folks, so just bear with me. It's going to be a long one, so just hold your horses. It's a 4-part recommendation before the council tonight. These are resolutions for annexing into the Community Facilities District in Ward 7. We do have 3 public comment speakers. We'll get into that in just a moment. The public hearing is to consider annexation proceedings and elections for the City of San Bernardino Community Facilities District number 2018-1. Safety Services, annexation number 5 is now open. Time is at approximately 9:42 p.m. Do any council members wish to hear the staff report? Hearing none. Do any members of the council have questions of staff or wish to make any comments? None noted, so that we will now receive comment from any persons in our audience. I will call those members of the public in just a few moments. Each person may address the city council for a maximum of 3 minutes. And if you do desire to speak and address, there is continued opportunity. We'll call these members up. Douglas Cameron. Mr. Cameron, are you here? Douglas Cameron. All right. Mr. McCamick, David McCamick. Mr. McCamick. Okay, I do see one member. Mr. Hartley, Mike Hartley, sir. Recognized for 3 minutes.
Mike Hartley, Ward 7, resident since 1958. I thought I was going to have more than 3 minutes if I wouldn't have hung around for 3 hours. Mr. Reynoso, 2 weeks ago, you talked about the shooting. I honestly feel
Mayor.
you didn't know
Mayor,
what you
the
were
comments are
talking about.
specific to the public hearing.
Mr. Hartley, if you address the council regarding number 5, the annexation.
Now,
Go ahead, sir.
no, this is about Reynoso. That's why I waited.
Well, you had it marked here as number 5.
Well, the only reason why I did that, because it was going to take more than 3 minutes to talk about it, and that's why I did it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Staff marked this as a public hearing item number 5, that you wanted to speak regarding this matter.
Yeah, no. So, it'll have to
Okay.
be, it'll have to be the next time then.
I'm sorry, sir. Sorry about that. All right, final comments. Any members of the public wishing to address council on item number 5? David McCamick, Douglas Cameron, any one of those individuals? Hearing none, we'll move on to item hearing. We'll now receive, I'm sorry, has the city clerk received any written protests?
I have received 0 written protests.
Okay, are there any persons registered to vote within annexation number 5 of Community Facilities District number 2018-1? If so, how many registered voters are there, Madam Clerk?
There are no, the County of San Bernardino Register of Voters has certified that there are no registered voters within annexation number 5 of the Community Facilities District number 2018-1.
Okay, the time being 9:45 p.m., I now declare the hearing closed. May I please have a motion to adopt Resolution 2022-161 of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, acting as a legislative body of the City of San Bernardino Community Facilities District number 2018 Safety Services, annexing territory to Community Facilities District number 2018-1 Safety Services, and calling the elections therein. Is there a motion?
Move approval.
By Charette, second.
Second.
By Reynoso. Any further deliberation or discussion by members? If not, we'll call a voice vote.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Charette? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes with 5 votes in favor, noting that Councilmember Figueroa and Calvin are absent from this item.
Okay, may I have a motion to adopt resolution now of 2022-162 of the Mayor City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, acting as a legislative body of the City of San Bernardino Community Facilities District number 2018-1 Safety Services, certifying the results of the August 3rd, 2022 annexation and special tax election. Is there a motion by? Charette?
Second.
Second by Reynoso. Any further deliberation or discussion? Hearing none, voice vote.
I have to make a brief announcement. It says official ballots have been opened and all votes are in favor of the proposition presented on the ballot, and the election is now closed. Councilmember Sanchez, your vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Councilmember Charette? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes with 6 affirmative votes.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on to item number 6. This is a public hearing of annexation number 18 to the Community Facilities District number 2019-1. This is a fourfold recommendation by staff, and the matter is there before you. A six-fold recommendation by staff members. And this is, again, a long script, so just bear with us. The public hearing to consider annexation proceedings and elections for City of San Bernardino Community Facilities District number 2019-1 of the Maintenance Services annexation to number 18 is now open at approximately 9:48 p.m. Do any council members wish to hear the staff report? Hearing none, we'll move on. Do any members of the council have any questions of staff or wish to make any comments on this particular matter? None. All right, we will now receive matters of comments, protests, and questions from any persons in the audience who wish to speak on this matter. Each person may address the city council for a maximum of 3 minutes. Please submit your speaker slip to our city clerk. And this is item number 6. Are there any members of the public? All right. Ms. City Clerk, have we received any written protests?
I have received 0 written protests.
Okay, Madam City Clerk, are there any persons registered to vote within annexation number 18 of the Community Facilities District number 2019-1? And if so, how many registered voters are there?
The County of San Bernardino Registrar of Voters has certified that there are no registered voters within annexation number 18 of Community Facilities District number 2019-1.
Okay, thank you. The time being 9:49 p.m., I now declare the public hearing closed. May I please have a motion to adopt Resolution 2022-163 of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, calling for an election to submit to the qualified electors the question levying a special tax within the area proposed to be annexed within the Community Facilities District number 2019-1 of Maintenance Services annexation number 18.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Figueroa, second by Alexander. Any further deliberation or discussion points? Okay, take a voice vote.
I have to make this announcement. The official ballots have been opened and all votes are in favor of the proposition presented on the ballot, and the election is now closed. Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Councilmember Charette? Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes with 6 affirmative votes.
Okay, may I please have a motion to adopt Resolution 2022-164 of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, declaring election results for the Community Facilities District number 2019-1, Maintenance Services Annexation number 18. Is there a motion?
So move.
By Alexander,
Second.
by Figueroa. Any final comments, discussion, or deliberation by members? All right, let's take the vote.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Councilmember Charette?
Yes.
Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes, 6 affirmative votes.
Okay, I now ask for a motion, please, to waive further reading and introduce by title only an ordinance of the City of San Bernardino Municipal Code -1590 of the Mayor City Council, amending ordinance number MC 1522 and levying special taxes to be collected during the fiscal year 2022-2023 to pay for the annual cost of the maintenance and servicing of landscaping, lighting, graffiti abatement, parks and trail maintenance, water quality improvements, lighting, and a reserve fund for the capital replacement and administrative expenses with respect to the City of San Bernardino Community Facilities District Number 2019-1.
So moved.
By Figueroa,
Second.
by Charette. Any final comments? Okay, if we take the vote, please.
Councilmember Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
Councilmember Charette, Councilmember Reynoso,
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander.
Aye.
Motion passes with 6 affirmative votes.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to item number 7 of tonight's calendar. This is the Development Code Amendment 22-03, accessory dwelling units. The recommendation is there before you. We are in still public hearing mode. There is one speaker, two speakers, Ms. Armstead and Ms. Lopez. I have two comments requests. I will now, as mayor, open the public hearing at approximately 9:53 p.m. Could I please get a staff report on this item?
Yes, good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. And as a result of state legislation, back in April of 2021, City Council adopted our accessory dwelling unit ordinance. In there was a lot of restrictions or lack of latitude of what the commission or the council can adopt. One of the areas was the size of the ADUs. The state law allows for up to 1,200 square feet. Through the vetting through our planning commission the original time, and what was presented to you and adopted back in April of 2021, the limitation was up to 1,000 square feet. Since then, the direction was given to process an amendment to increase that or possibly increase it to 1,200 square feet. That was presented to the Planning Commission in April of this year, and they unanimously voted and adopted a resolution to maintain it at 1,000 square feet. A couple of the reasons, there's a varying lot sizes within the cities, primarily down in the core of the city area, where the lot sizes are smaller, homes are smaller, and it's kind of difficult to fit a unit of that size, an ADU. Also, one of the things is that a lot of the existing homes are less than 1,000 square feet in the first place. And so there's nothing in the code that allows us to say whether your ADU has to be smaller than the main house. So that was a factor. And then what we're finding in some other neighborhoods is that people are, which is allowed by our ordinance, converting their garages. And you can convert your garage to an ADU and without having to put a garage in, replace the garage or to provide for other parking. And so it's, we've seen a lot of ADU applications. I could say to date this year, we have a little over 300 that have been already approved. We have about another close to 350, 400 that are in the pipeline that are through our plan check process to be issued. So that, again, the Planning Commission voted to maintain it as it is. It was a directive of the City Council to explore the 1,200 square feet. That's what we're presenting before you. If you're inclined to approve the amendment with the 1,200 square feet, that's fine. Otherwise, if you wanted to keep it as it is, you could simply table the matter if you'd like. I'd be glad to answer any questions, and that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mojica. I do have a question on packet page number 4. On the first paragraph, it suggests there that the maximum size in the strike-through is that it's now from 850 for a studio. So I'm confused here. Was it at 850 and then it was amended to 1,000? Or is this just aggregate total space use of 1,200?
The way it's written is it's what's shown on that packet page, where it currently reads there's an aggregate. So if you have a studio, the minimum size is 850 square feet.
Okay.
As
to
you
qualify for an ADU.
That's correct. That's correct.
And it's up to now, we're suggesting with this staff recommendation, up to now 1,200.
That is correct.
Now, is there a specific emphasis? Is it a livable space, or is this patio porch area outside, or is this more livable space within the four interiors?
It's enclosed, but your ADUs do have to provide their own bathrooms and kitchen facility, correct.
Correct, okay. And my other question is, on ADU applications, I want to commend staff and your team and your shop for processing the ADUs. I know that this is a controversial item in some parts of our city. I'm fully supportive of ADUs. I think it's a novel new approach to the housing dilemmas that we have here in our community, certainly throughout the state, and the impacts of costs and developments and development impact fees. So I'm fully supportive of that. My question to you then is, the 300 or so that you suggested or alluded to that have been in process, what are the average fees associated with for application of ADUs? Rough estimates. Is it a conditional use permit, or is it ministerial action?
It's essentially, it's an over-the-counter kind of thing. When I say over-the-counter, it's a ministerial action. It's a staff level approval.
And what's the rough application costs?
Honestly,
Do they vary?
It varies by square footage, but if they're all between 850 and 1,000 square feet, they're all about the size, the same price, I should say. But I don't have that figure.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Councilmember Sanchez, sir.
Yes, so, I mean, there's no exceptions for the, what are they called, offsets, backsets? Offsets from the property lines. So none of that changes.
Setbacks?
The setbacks.
The setbacks, they do allow for reduced setbacks. It doesn't allow for maximum lot coverage.
That's what this amendment to the ordinance does?
No, I'm saying our existing ordinance.
No, but I'm talking about the existing ordinance.
The ordinance-
Does this amendment change or amend those setbacks?
No, it
There you
does
go,
not.
exactly. And so those have been approved, the council approves, so it's fine with that. Have we changed anything on the usable, the area that is available for development on a parcel of property, right? Because it's split.
So you're talking about like lot coverage?
Exactly,
No, we can't.
exactly. So all we're doing is, really, we're not amending anything. So we're not suddenly going to get these ADUs that the property line is where the window and the door to the house start. So that's not changing. So
That's
it's really going to depend on the availability of the land. So if it's a bigger parcel that can hold a 1,200 square foot ADU, then it's going to be appropriate. If it isn't, if it's a small, like my place, you couldn't fit a 2-foot ADU if you wanted to. So, no, this allows for us to develop out if the parcel land is appropriate for an ADU of 1,200 feet. So I would move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Mojica, a great question by Councilman Sanchez. I believe we have two other speakers. I'll hold my question. We'll go to Councilman Alexander, then followed by Councilman Keller.
I just want to make sure that you stated that the Planning Commission requested or denied this to increase to 1,200 square feet.
That is correct.
That's all. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Kelvin?
So thank you, Mr. Mojica.
Welcome.
Question. I had several constituents reach out to me this week regarding ADUs, and I believe that I did get some answers, but just for clarification, and then this way the community can hear you speak about it. Their question was regarding meters, individual meters for gas and electricity, things like that. Is the owner of the property, let's say the owner did not live on the property, and the front unit, the owner is the original house, the owner is renting. The ADU, the owner is going to rent as well. Is the owner required to place an addition up to separate meters for the ADU from the front house?
He is not required. It's at their option.
And so do we, for communities' education, do we govern, does the city have anything to do with regulating rent, regulating the fact that those 2 meters will be joined? And if then we acquire 2 tenants who are not happy with how the utility bill is split or divided?
No, we do not have any regulations as it relates to rental rates or how that arrangement is made between the landlord and the tenants.
No rent control either?
That's correct. That's
Okay.
correct.
Thank you very much.
You are welcome.
Councilmember Barra.
Yes. So right now, you're recommending that we approve up to 1,200 square feet? Or we reject that? Is that,
The recommendation that was brought before you is what you had requested. All code
So-
amendments are required to go before the planning commission first. And so
Correct.
it was the direction of the council to return with 1,200 square feet. So we're maintaining that recommendation, but the planning commission does not support that recommendation.
correct. And on my end, some former constituents, because now they're part of the 7th Ward, I saw some of their properties going through this. And my concern, for those who don't know, one of those houses is going to lose their garage. There's limited parking on the street. Our sewer system is outdated, and it's getting updated slowly. Those are things that we have to plan for the future. I myself, once I saw those two properties on Ninth Street, for example, I'm not comfortable with increasing the square feet. I think it would have to be pertinent to the property itself. In my house, I can nicely fit a 1,200 square foot property, but in the houses that I saw, they were crowded. And that is my concern, and I hope my colleagues, you know, they bear that in mind, that not all our properties in the city are the same size. Some are bigger, some are smaller. My colleague Sanchez here mentioned about his being a small property and having a bigger one behind his house. It would kind of look weird. But yeah, I'm not comfortable either with increasing the square footage on my end. I hope my colleagues bear that in mind, because it's going to cause not only traffic in our streets, but also traffic with our sewer lines amongst our city. Okay,
So
yeah, I just wanted to confirm, because you're saying here you want us to introduce, read by title, and waive this ordinance here, and it's gone to planning, and they rejected it, and it came back to us now based on what we asked you to bring back, correct?
That's correct.
So I guess my motion would be to deny the current motion that's before us? If that's the motion that you're asking us to increase
Are
to
you
1,200.
suggesting an alternate motion, Ms. Barrow? If
So-
that's your pleasure, then state it. But the
So-
staff
so
recommendation
Our
is,
recommendation is, I'm sorry, our recommendation is for 1,200 square feet.
Okay.
And so if you could either make a motion, I apologize, not providing directives, but make a motion to approve the 1,200 square feet, or deny, or simply table if you don't want to take any action.
Okay, and then one more question. The minimum ADU size per the state is 850 still? Or did it go up?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not comfortable with the approving 1,200. I haven't seen 1,000.
And for
square foot.
clarification also, and this is something that the planning commission deliberated also, is the ADU ordinance allows that you could convert your garage. If it's attached to the house, that's considered a junior ADU.
Correct, but
you
the
could do
property
that.
that I saw was not converting the
And
garage.
then
They
you
were
could,
gonna
and
take
then
it
you could
out.
have a detached ADU, so essentially you could have 3 units on a lot under the current ADU ordinance, and that's under state law.
Correct, but one of the properties that I saw, they were going to remove the garage. Correct, but the state minimum is 850.
okay, Councilmember, does that conclude your comments? Okay, there's a motion before you. There's a motion on staff recommendation.
When I hit speaker, does that show up anywhere? 'Cause I've
I
done it
I
about
see
2 or 3
Councilman
times.
Figueroa.
Okay. Well, mine's not showing up.
I'll recognize you a moment, sir. No
Okay.
problem.
Sure, you just click on it one more
Mr.
time.
Figueroa, go ahead.
I think my original question was answered. Let's say that there isn't any space on the property to build an ADU, but there's a will to do it above the house, a second floor. Are there any restrictions to build an ADU as a second floor above?
If it's attached, that would be a junior ADU, and you could do that.
Let's say
But you could not you cannot build an ADU on top of a detached garage.
No, on top of just the regular house.
The regular house you can.
So on top of the regular house, you are able to build on top of that and build a separate.
If you have a single-story home.
Correct.
And you
It's
wanna-
a single-story home, and then on top of that, you build an ADU with its own separate staircase.
That's correct.
With access to it.
That's correct.
So there aren't any restrictions, okay.
Okay, Mr. Charette.
I realized that I was pushing the wrong button, so my error. This ADU thing is really, I'm not happy with it at all. I think it's a real failure of the state to make housing in this state, I don't want to say affordable, but affordable for developers to build good housing. It's just gotten out of hand in terms of what it costs to build, and I think this is a kind of a Band-Aid to fix the lack of housing we have. Did you say 800 square feet is the minimum?
That's correct.
Not 850. Someone said 850.
850, I'm sorry.
It's 850.
It's 850.
Aren't most garages 20 by 40?
Usually,
would be
well,
800?
usually they're 20 by 20. Usually
Or
they're
20 by 20? So
two-car garages typically at 20 by 20.
20 by 20. So that's
Maybe
only 400 square feet.
That is, but
So how do you convert a garage under 850?
well, they make adjustments to the interior of the house and such.
Well, no, junior's different. But a minimum junior is what?
Is the 850?
850. And so someone converting a garage is only going to be maybe 400 square feet.
Unless they,
This is really
unless
a
they,
problem.
unless they
And then
punch
you
it.
then you convert your garage, and so the people that are living there and the new people that are living there, and they've got a small driveway, now they're all parking on the street, and everybody's converting. This is a mess. This is, in my opinion, a mess. Now, I want to state, though, there's a new development out in the northeast end that's doing a marvelous job with these ADUs. It makes sense on new housing. But people are going to be doing this so they can move family members in because of the economy and because of everything else. And it is not going to help our city, in my opinion. And I am not supportive. I have a hard time with the recommendation being to go to 1,200 when the Planning Commission said, no, stay at 1,000. And when we start looking at garage conversions that are really only 400, I'm not happy with any of this. And like I say, I'd like to see it maybe in new developments only, where it's done from the beginning, part of the plan. They can plan for maybe larger, wider streets, parking issues and things like that in a new development. But this idea of converting, taking neighborhoods that are now a block of 10 homes that are all 1,500 square foot homes that were built back in the 50s and 60s, and now they've all got an ADU on their garage and an ADU in their backyard. I'm not happy with this ADU idea at all. And it's really just in my opinion, it's the state of California that's making these rules in order to make up for their inability to allow California to do development. And so I'm not going to vote to approve the 1,200 for sure. I may abstain because I don't like to abstain. But this one I'm not happy with at all. So I don't know, but what I might have only an opportunity or a choice but to abstain because I just don't like any of this right now.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Councilman Alexander.
One quick question. Councilman Charette said one thing. He said, could this possibly, can we make a change to it only be in new development?
No.
It was just a shot.
Every city tried in California.
Every city tried it? Well, give it a shot. Okay, it's all good.
Okay, the motion is there before you. There's a motion by Councilman Sanchez.
We have speakers.
Okay, great. Dolores Armstead, followed by, Ms. Lopez, go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Amelia Lopez, and I am here to speak on this item of auxiliary dwelling units known as ADUs or granny flats. The proposal before you tonight is to approve the Planning Commission's recommendation that you deny changing the square footage of ADUs from 1,000 square feet to 1,200 square feet. I am on the Planning Commission, but I am not here to speak on their behalf, Instead, I want to explain why they voted unanimously to deny it. The state mandated ADUs with a minimum of 850 square feet. We have to have them. The Planning Commission approved 1,000 square feet. We approved the 1,000 square feet. At 1,200 feet, it is now the size of a regular house. I live in a 1,200 feet home. I recently visited 2 of these ADUs being built on I Street by the people who live in the front. I saw the houses being built back up to the neighbor's fence so that there was no privacy. This was wall-to-wall housing. And these were not 1 or 2 bedroom houses, but 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a living room, and a kitchen built in a walkway that seemed to be between the bedrooms because there was a hookup for gas and a hookup for refrigeration. The parents who currently live in the front were outraged that they had no say-so because they don't own the property. One parent has lived there paying rent for 9 years, and now her children have no backyard to play in. The people who move in the back have no walk up to the house except to walk along the side of the front house. And because ADUs don't require parking on site, the people in the back house would have to park on the street, creating the problem of tandem parking. These are small lots with house being squeezed in the back. Over 46% of city dwellers are renters. Most of them are low-income families who have been priced out of the housing market. The Planning Commission was told by Mr. Mojica that there are probably 2,000 ADUs pending. As he said, 300 already on the books and more to come. Probably their properties owned by out-of-towners wanting to maximize their income by squeezing in another house. If this were a 1 or 2 bedroom or granny flat, housing that accommodates your relatives in the backyard, okay, but don't allow the city to be taking advantage of the small houses and another house in the back. Thank you.
Ms. Armstead?
Again, the Planning Commission voted unanimously against expanding to 1,200 square feet. There are single-family homes in this city that are 1,100 square feet, maybe smaller. How can we approve an ADU that is larger than the primary home? It's supposed to be a granny flat, supposed to help you out, not be larger than the primary home. Also, not all properties can accommodate 2 full-sized homes. An ADU is not supposed to be a full-sized home. The commission voted against this. We want to keep it from 850 to 1,000 square feet. We need to consider the neighbors' properties and the aesthetics. Crowding more property on a single lot does not help this city. It does not truly address the housing crisis. A regular granny flat, okay, but another large home crowded onto a small lot, it doesn't help our crisis. We can approve an ADU, but within the size limits. As a city, we can be better, we can look better, we can do better. Please, council, vote against expanding it to 1,200 square feet. Keep it at 1,000. Greed can only go so far. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Kelvin. Okay, all right. The matters before the council here. There's a motion for staff recommendation by Sanchez with the motion on a second by Reynoso. Members, cast your votes, please. Yes, sir.
The staff recommendation is to approve the 1,200.
Yes. And that's the motion. And
I'd
there's
like
been
to make a
support.
substitute motion.
Substitute motion.
Can we make a substitute motion to deny the increase? Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, there's a substitute motion by Ibarra to deny the increase with the support by Charette. Cast your votes on the substitute motion by Ibarra.
Councilmember Calvin, your vote. Is it open for you now? Yes. Motion passes 4-3 with council members Sanchez, Reynoso, and Calvin voting in opposition of the denial.
I'm sorry, the motion passes to deny, so.
If I may, for clarification, I believe that an ordinance. Yes. Okay, so I'm sorry, we're fine.
So the motion.
I'm sorry, the clarification I was going to provide, in order for an ordinance to pass, you need a minimum of 5 votes.
So the motion fails.
If there's not 5, then it dies.
I did not see that in the staff report this evening. I do prepare by reading the staff report, but I'm informed by our planning that a code amendment, he is saying, I think it's because you're overruling, if you were to vote in the affirmative for the 1,200 feet, because you're overruling your planning commission.
All right, so for lack of the support of the aforementioned, the floor motion now continues with Sanchez on the floor motion to support increasing it from 1,000 to 1,200. Motion, members, cast your votes.
No. You got it all messed up. It failed. We're not bringing back the ordinance, the amendment, right? Yeah.
No, it needs 5 for it to fail, and it failed because it was 4-3.
No, it doesn't. It needs 5 to get approved.
5 to
So,
approve.
no, next item.
Oh, so we're on to the next item, okay.
Okay, so point of clarity, the ordinance still remains at 1,000. Correct. Okay, very good. All right, move on to item number 8. This is the Development Code Amendment 2020-04 of the alcoholic beverage sales location. The matter is there before you. We do have one public comment speaker. The opening of our public hearing for tonight item is at 10:18 p.m. Can I please get a staff report on it?
Yes, Honorable Mayor and council members. This is another item that was a city council directive. What we've done is before you is to increase the separation requirement of an alcohol-related use for off-sale, which are stores, where you will go from the store and take it back to wherever you're going to consume it. Increase it from 500 to 1,000 square feet. This item was presented to the Planning Commission, and they unanimously supported and that's what's before you. The recommendation is to increase it to the 1,000 feet from schools, parks, churches, and sensitive uses. I did want to point out and clarify that it primarily deals with stores that are below 10,000 square feet. So if you looked on the ordinance that was before you, it provides a list of exceptions, and those exceptions include stores that are above 10,000 square feet, restaurants, specialty stores, bars and lounges. Those do not fall within the requirements for the 1,000-foot requirement, because that requires a conditional use permit application. So like your convenience stores that or along with gas stations, that's processed through a CUP.
So tonight's staff report does not affect stores under 10,000 square feet?
Over 10,000.
Over 10.
Over 10,000.
So the emphasis, would this be retroactive in the aspects of convenience stores? I mean, I know what you just said about conditional use permits, or is this just new applications?
New applications.
All right, very good. Okay, does that conclude your staff report?
Yes, it does.
Okay, very good.
I'd be glad to answer any questions.
We'll open it up to our public speaker, Mr. Penman. Sir, you wanted to be recognized for 3 minutes regarding item number 8.
Yes, I want to speak in support of this item, and I commend all the council members who wanted to do this, including Mr. Reynoso, even though we've had our little tiff at the last meeting. And by the way, Mr. Reynoso came up to me and greeted me tonight, extended his hand, which I thought was very gentlemanly thing for him to do. Does not change my position about council members not getting involved in police shootings, leaving that to the chief. But anyway, we need this ordinance. For years, some of us tried to get the distance increased because you don't need 2 liquor stores within 500 feet within each other. You don't need a liquor store 500 feet from a school. You don't need it, I think it's a park is another one of the places. One of the other things I want to mention is that we've had over the years a lot of shootings at these liquor stores. They're congregation points for intoxicated people. In many cases, they've been congregation points for drug deals and gangs. And we've even had some officer-involved shootings there. And I really want to encourage you to pass this, and I want to try to follow up with something Mr. Alexander said, because you're going to get more every time there's an officer-involved shooting, you're going to get lawsuits, and that's going to happen in these cases. And then the city's going to get sued, because we always do. When that happens, the chief is not the one to be answering questions and being interviewed in public, just as council members are not, because they will subpoena him. And for him to do a video is fine, but your city attorney is the one who can answer that, because she's not going to get subpoenaed, and I'm going to shut up. And if she does get subpoenaed, it's going to be quashed. I got subpoenaed all the time because I did the talking on those types of things, and the subpoenas were quashed. So you need your city attorney to give the report.
It's
not the
regarding
chief.
the alcoholic.
Move to approve.
That's what it was. Thank you.
Move to approve.
Okay, there's a motion and a
I'll second.
Okay, cast your votes.
So I have a real concern with this. If the developer we just chose for the downtown development was here, he would be begging us not to do this. So there needs to be a level of flexibility, especially in a place like downtown that's a special type of development. The type of development that has been successful and what we're trying to build here in the downtown area is going to require a mixed metropolitan, cosmopolitan feel. We're going to need fancy restaurants and bars, and we're going to need convenience stores next to a park and a community center, and luxury apartments on the second level. These things are affected by that. So I would make a recommendation where there is a specific plan in the city. At the specific plan dictate the. No, it does not. And this would supersede that. So we're building right now a specific plan for downtown, and this ordinance would overrule that specific plan for downtown. And honestly, it would go in contradiction with what we're planning for downtown.
How about if they apply for a waiver? All right. Or
If I may provide some clarification, it does not apply to restaurants, bars, lounges, those kinds of things. We're talking about just a store, a convenience store or liquor store, if that's what we want to label it. That's
So the type 20 sale is on-premise or off-premise?
20 is beer and wine, 21 is beer, wine, and distilled spirits.
And on-premise liquor licenses are typically restaurants, bars, that you have to drink and consume on-site.
That is
You
correct.
can't take the liquor package out on the parking lot.
That's correct.
The type 21 is off-site liquor stores, convenience stores.
This would still affect that sort of development. And there's another place where that would affect. So I represent the historic West Side neighborhoods. And a way of life is the bodeguitas, so the corner stores. We had, at one point, 30 of them. A lot of them have shuttered since the Great Recession, but they're opening back up. So these are little corner stores every couple blocks in the historic Latino West Side neighborhoods. And again, it's a way of life over there. They'd send the kids. These would all be cut off suddenly. We would not be allowed to have any more of these institutions that are a way of life on that side of town reopen. So again, we had 20, some of them close, and they're reopening now. We can't do that. We can't do that with this in place. So I would request, first of all, that we make an exemption for areas where there is a specific plan in place. And second, that we make an exception for bodeguitas like the ones in the historic West Side neighborhoods. I don't see, I mean, these have been a positive facet in the communities that I represent. And I know that we want to paint with a broad brush and say that this is all bad. But you are really shutting an option out that is a way of life in that part of town. And so I'm requesting respectfully that we allow exemptions for those, basically those historical locations on the West Side neighborhoods, as well as specific plans.
If I may provide a clarification on the specific plan item, that'll be its own regulatory document. And when that comes before you, it will include a land use table and the requirements for particular land uses. That'll be coming before you, but, you know, end of this year, beginning of next year, you know, time frame. And so in there, I can share with you that we're working with that draft, and it has been presented to the Downtown Advisory Committee, where we're talking about alcohol-related uses on site. That those would be there's be a more administrative process for those. It wouldn't be a public hearing per se. And then and then there's also some prohibitions on liquor-related, off-sale liquor type stores within the downtown area.
You see there will be restrictions?
There will be limitations to not allow on-site, or excuse me, off-sale, where you can take it home.
Yeah.
If it's less than a certain square footage, that has not yet been determined.
I want confirmation from Nathan that that's going to be the case, because we are really going to struggle.
Well, at the end of the day, that item will be presented. The development code, or excuse me, the downtown specific plan is going to go before the Planning Commission and the City Council for adoption. And
That specific plan.
Yeah, the specific plan,
And that's going to dictate something different than the 1,000 feet that's being proposed today?
it'll be its own it's its own mini development code, zoning code.
All right. And what about my bodeguitas? What's going to happen to those? They're going to have to go away?
I don't know if that. Well, the existing ones are grandfathered. It's new ones. If you have a type 20,
That's what's happening. Is these bodeguitas, they were shuttered. A lot of them closed down during the Great Recession, and they're reopening. We've had a bunch of them open up recently, and they're little convenience stores that aren't liquor stores. They send the kids for cigarettes, fifth of tequila, tortillas, and beans. So what happens to those? They go away, right?
I know that we have 3 applications in the Mount Vernon, 5th Street area that are proposing to go from type 20 to type 21.
All right. Well, I'm going to be voting against it.
Motion and a second. Members,
hit the right time.
did you?
The right button.
Okay, would you like to speak? Okay, go ahead, sir.
I'm not going to say much different. This is the stuff this is for new applicants, right?
That is correct.
And what is a typical convenience store size?
They're usually between 5,000 and 8,000 square feet.
Okay, so they're under the 10,000.
Correct.
So this would be eliminating those, perhaps.
When they want to upgrade from a 20 to a 21.
Yeah. And did I read or hear somewhere about the potential, I don't know where, I could have sworn I saw this somewhere, about starting to have actually to-go cocktails in...
You could at a restaurant, you could have a to-go cup now.
It's allowed, is it
Yes.
allowed in this city?
In the state of California.
In the state of California, so
You can have dinner, ask them for a to-go cup, and there's no size limitation either.
And just go get in your car and drive on home with your open container, just exactly what we need.
What a country.
I do think, though, that, well, I'm just not going to support this. I think we've got so many of these that are already, in close proximity to parks or houses or whatever, And I'm just concerned about future developments that, can we control most of future development through a CUP?
Yes.
Okay, so that's why I don't think it's necessary. Go before the go before the planning commission, and then we can always put strict conditions on them. Okay, thank you.
Okay, members, cast your votes.
I'm still waiting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you need?
Just a couple
comment?
questions. Yeah, just a couple questions. So you said that this is just for new projects, new development, that those that are already existing, they're
New
grandfathered in?
applications, yes.
New applications. So, okay, so new applications. Let's say there's a transfer or a sale of an existing. Is that considered a new application?
We don't see those.
Okay. Let's say they want to do a renovation of an existing. Do they have to come?
No, they don't.
Before? So that wouldn't be affected either?
That's correct.
Okay.
Would not be affected.
Okay. That's it.
Okay, members, cast your votes, please.
Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember Calvin, your votes. Oh, okay.
Quit peeking.
Mayor Pro Tem. Item passes 5-2 with Council Members Sanchez and Charette voting in opposition.
Okay, thank you very much. It's 10:30 tonight. Let's move through our consent calendar. I'm going to pull items 10 and 11 on abstention due to my conflicts. So I will leave the room upon that. So we'll segregate and put those in, impound them on 10 and 11. Any other members of the council wishing to pull any other items? Go ahead, Councilman Charette.
I don't know if I need to pull it, but I want to vote no on number 11, just in the consistency. I voted no
Okay.
against it last time. I want to vote no on 11
All right.
only.
Why don't we do that after I leave? Any other items outside of 10 and 11 that members
Question
wish
on
to-
number 17, sir.
Go ahead, sir.
I guess this is for the agency director. Is that vehicle going to be a hybrid vehicle?
Item number 17 is purchase of patrol vehicle equipment.
Oh, my bad. I didn't see the equipment part.
Okay.
Thank you, Assistant City Manager. Good looking
Okay.
out.
All right. Any other polls, members?
Just a comment on, not a poll, but just a comment. Just like to commend staff on items number 21, 21 and 23. Mr. Hernandez, Mr. Kishta, thank you so much for your partnership and your hard work that went into working with the city of Rialto also. So thank you for that. Pepper Avenue. Okay, yes, Pepper Avenue is in dire need of getting some touch up there. So thank you for your work on that. It's greatly appreciated, and for the partnership with the city of Rialto as well. So thank you for that.
Councilmember Calvin.
Yes, I'd like to echo Councilmember Figueroa, letting the team know, thank you so much for that, and thank you, hope the city of Rialto is watching. We thank you for their collaboration as well. We look forward to having more projects that we can collaborate on together, because their folks travel that same road and a lot of other roads that we share. So we do appreciate all your hard work and efforts toward that. And if I can give a shout out to my community member, Mr. Guillermo, who has been pressing me for an entire year on getting that road done. So I hope he's listening.
Okay, members, with the exception of items 10 and 11, is there a motion to move for approval?
Move to approve.
Second.
Second. All members cast your votes on all those consent calendar items other than 10 and 11.
Consent calendar passes unanimously.
Okay, due to the abstention on number 10 and 11, I will now leave the room, and that is a conflict due to a campaign donation, and I'll hand it over to the Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, Mayor, I just want to remember, were 10 and 11 actually pulled from the consent calendar? Or you just, because you were a conflict on 10? Yeah, as a gentle reminder, remember that under the conflict of interest rules, when we have items on a consent calendar, when a member of the council has a conflict, if the items are not pulled from the consent calendar, the law does not require you to leave the dais. You're only required to leave the dais on a consent calendar item if you're actually pulling it for discussion. So that 10 and 11 could have been included within the consent calendar, but I would just you can recuse yourself and you can take action on 10 or 11.
So with that note, then, thank you for that. I'll remind that on the next time, but I'll leave items 10, 11, and then members want to vote.
Madam City Attorney, do we still then have to, we just recuse ourselves, we don't have to pull?
Yeah, yes, and so when an item is on a consent calendar, if you have a conflict, you just state your conflict. If the item is not pulled off of the consent calendar, then the person can just stay because it's going to be approved all in one item action. If an item is not on the consent calendar, then you should leave the room.
Thank you.
So,
We're on item 10.
On item 10? All right, so we're going to go ahead and...
Councilmember Charette did not pull it. He just made a comment that for consistency, but it wasn't pulled.
that he'll be voting no on, was it item 10?
10 and 11, I move to approve.
On 11. All right, so we'll go ahead and proceed to item number 10. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion approved and second. Please cast your votes. Or is it, okay, there we go.
We're building some housing, we're building some housing.
Are you,
The item passes unanimously.
Thank you. On to item number 11.
move to approve.
It's a motion to approve,
Second.
seconded by Councilmember Ibarra. Please cast your votes.
The motion passes with 6 affirmative votes and 1 vote in opposition by Councilmember Charette.
Thank you. Moving on to, or were there any other polls? I'm sorry. There were no other polls? Okay. Items to be considered for future meetings. Number 28, Councilmember Alexander.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Item number 28 is giving our procurement officer the ability, the dollar amount ability to purchase stuff and to make government more efficient. And also to give our city manager the signing authority from $50,000 to $100,000. The average city manager gets $125,000 signing authority, and ours only has 50. As in to make our government more efficient, I move that we give this to the staff to bring it back to us in a staff report.
Second.
I'd like to make a comment concerning this.
Sure, please.
I think that I would recommend that staff bring back a review and study on our procurement process, because this is not the only thing. And I think that staff should be really coming back and saying, hey, this along with a set of other adjustments or amendments to how we do procurement should be reviewed as a whole. So I would recommend a change in wording. And I wrote it. Review the procurement rules and bring back a staff report with recommendations for updating procurement as well as the spending authority.
Ms. City Attorney, are we allowed to make changes to items for
If
future?
you're just giving direction to the city
Okay.
Staff as to what you'd like to have them do, so I think a slight modification is acceptable.
It's
You're not- yeah,
acceptable.
You're not
Okay.
adding an entirely new item, but it's up to the council whether they want to accept that or not.
Okay. What is the council's desire? There's a motion to accept the item number 28.
Would you like
please
me to call for
cast
the
your,
votes?
cast your votes.
Motion passes with 6-1, with Councilmember Sanchez voting in opposition.
Thank you. Okay, on to item number 29, Councilmember Sanchez.
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion to approve, second. Please cast your votes.
Councilmember Sanchez, your vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Thank you, council members. Thank you, staff and public, for hanging in there with us tonight. We'll move on to adjournment. The next joint regular meeting of the Mayor and City Council and the Mayor and City Council acting as the successor agency to the Redevelopment Agency will be held on August 17th, 2022 at the Feldheim Central Library located at 555 West 6th Street, San Bernardino, California, 92401. Closed session will begin at 5:30